Hey guys, welcome back to Thalabuddy. This is Cami. Today we have an amazing guest. We have Matt Menon. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, also. My name is Matt Menon. I have been uploading film-related content on Instagram and YouTube for relatively a short period of time, I would say since last year. But I've been a crazy movie follower since I was a little baby because movies was what got us going uh, culturally and in every way. So yeah, that's about me. I have a job that's not to do with movies as my full time. I'm an investment banker. I work in the investment banking sector, but movies is what actually is my passion. So that's, I think, a small intro about me. And I hail from Kerala and I currently live in Bangalore. So yeah, that's about me.
So the first thing that I would like to talk about it is about retro and
Yeah.
hit 3. Those are the most recent movies, and I think we might have some different opinions in here. So
Yeah.
first, let's go with the easiest, which is hit 3. How was
Yeah.
it for you?
Hit 3, so I'll be very honest, I haven't watched Hit 1 and Hit 2. And I know people who watch Hit 1 and Hit 2 definitely will have a different sort of an experience when it comes to Hit 3 because there's a lot of baggage of, previous,
Yes.
whatever expectations that the Hit series has built, right? But what I found interesting that I had mentioned in my review on my channel as well was that Hit is produced by Nani. Part one, part two was produced by Nani, and then he's acting in the third part. So it's very rarely you see a franchise build, based on like I would say it's sort of merit, right? Like first part was a good like surprise hit. Then the second part came out. Now the third part, the producer himself is the hero in the movie. And now, if you watch Hit 3, you would also know there's a Hit 4 coming out, and there is a surprise for the audience that was packed in that. So I went without any expectations because I haven't watched Hit 1 and Hit 2. I just had read about it. And Hit 3, it started off, the first half, honestly, for me was kind of, I'm like, okay, it's like all thrillers that I've seen in my, like a lot of Indian movies are there, right? Where the cop is angry, there's an angry cop who is kind of like single, and then he's kind of twisted in his head. There are a few movies I can't recall, but all of the Indian cops, if you think about them, they mostly suffer with anger issues, from Singham to like every other cop
Yes.
out there. And I felt like the template is similar. There's a serial killer. There is some twisted, like things happening. And I was, once the first half got over, I was like, okay, this is like maybe like an average, above average sort of a movie because the love track also didn't work for me, to be honest. The KGF
Mhm.
heroine came in, and then there was a song I felt was like inserted, like which just kind of broke the pace of the movie, which was like a very thrilling sort of like a movie. But the second half, like when I actually like came back from the interval and started watching the second half, I'm like, okay, slasher movies, horror movies, like this gory, violent movies are not my thing. But
Okay.
I somehow was able to enjoy Hit 3 because I felt like there was like a very aesthetic, like it was very aesthetically done. The violence that they kind of showcase, right? Like I don't want to like kind of, this is not a spoiler because a lot of violence on screen, but some of the violence that was executed on screen was so, it was like a modern art, like sort of painting, like the way the blood splattered and things like that. I felt like, okay, this violence, which is kind of nice to like aesthetically is done in a very, like the set design is good. He's wearing all white, and then
Yeah.
there's a lot of like blood, and like I felt like the contrast and all those, like aesthetically it was very nice to look at violence. Like I've said this in my review also, that people compare it with Marco, but Marco was not violence that I found was like, it was not pleasing to look at. It was not something that you could relate to because a lot of good people were also being at the receiving end. Here I felt like there was justice done in the way violence was portrayed. So yeah, for me, Hit 3 definitely is an above average movie. It's something you should watch in theater if you love uh, action movies, you like movies where there's a lot of blood being splattered all over the screen. Yeah, and I think Hit 1 and Hit 2 was a different sort of a thriller, so I don't know, might have disappointed a few people who I think I saw your review also, like you gave it a 4 out of 5, and your husband gave it 3.5. So I think that also comes from the expectation that people had from Hit 1 and Hit 2. So I don't know if
Exactly.
you watched Hit 1 and Hit 2. I don't know if you
No,
watched that.
no,
Yeah.
I haven't watched it because in my case, again, it is the same thing. I started
Okay.
watching Indian movies like when I met my husband. Then
Yeah.
after that was that I came to know that there was something actually called Indian cinema, that they have so many industries and all this stuff. But in
Okay.
my case, like it was a different experience to watch Hit 3. One, because I love Nani. From the first movie
Okay.
that I saw from him, it was like, yes, this guy is awesome. I can trust him into watching movies. He's
Okay.
reliable. He chooses very like good scripts. And
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said, they choreograph the action scenes so good. That is
Yeah.
rare because
Yeah.
usually they focus a lot on the massy aspect, that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hero is
Yeah.
flying and all this stuff. Here it was more grounded. And many
Yeah.
scenes, like there's one, I cannot spoil it, but it was like it was graphic, but they didn't show completely what was going
Yeah.
on. Like
Yeah.
the body is just dismembering and everything. So that
Hmm.
I enjoyed. For me, I like the story. It is not as like my husband was the one who told me that the other parts were more like suspense thriller. This
Hmm.
is more
Hmm.
like action,
Yeah.
but still for me, I completely enjoyed the first half, the way they
Hmm.
build up a bit. And
Hmm.
we watched it in Telugu. They didn't have
Yeah. Yeah.
subtitles. We thought it
Yeah.
was with
Oh.
subtitles. So
Okay.
it was good for us that they had a bit of Hindi, a bit of English. But in my
Yeah.
case, overall, I enjoyed it. And for being a massy movie, because it is not like super like story focused in here, it was so well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Performance wise, like you said, visually and everything,
Yeah.
it is so enjoyable.
Yeah.
And talking about that, I think we can go now to retro, because it is the movie that we watched afterwards, and we were all excited because we had seen this disappointment of Kangua, and then we
Yeah.
were thinking, okay, retro is like looking good from the trailer.
Yeah.
So you
Did
tell
you
me
watch
about
Kangoo in the Did you watch Kangoo in the theater though?
it. Yes, I watched it in movie theaters.
Now talking about retro is going to be a little tricky because like how you said you are a I don't know if you said you're a fan of Nani, but you said you trust him with his movies, right? The same way when I was growing up, I'm a 90s kid. 2000 2005 to 2010 is a very crucial period because like you're entering your teenagers, like for me personally, and you tend to get inspired by a lot of actors. Like if you're a
Yeah.
cinephile from childhood, like teenagers is the time when movies inspire you a lot. And honestly, 2004 to 2005 was the timeline when I don't know if you've heard of these movies called Onion and this Gajni. So I'm guessing
Yes,
you
yes.
might have heard. Gajni is basically a Surya movie that was remade into Bollywood, and then there's a Vikram movie called Onion. These two movies is how I got introduced to Tamil cinema. Like until then, I only watched Malayalam and Hindi Bollywood movies. It is in
Mhm.
2004, 2005 with Surya's Gajni that and Vikram's Onion that I started getting introduced into Tamil movies. And there was a special sort of combination in Tamil cinema that was very unseen in Malayalam and Hindi. Like Malayalam movies are very grounded, Hindi movies are very glamorous, and Tamil had this very weird mixture of being grounded and at the same time glamorous. Like they would have dream shots in foreign countries, foreign locations, very colorful sets, but at the same time they're very grounded when it comes to emotions and comes to dialogues and things like that. So retro, the reason I gave you this sort of like a context before I started talking about retro is Surya is an actor that has actually influenced me a lot as a growing up teenager. Like I'll tell you, I've there has been a long time I wanted to become an actor. And the reason I wanted to become an actor is because I used to look at Surya and I'm like, okay, I want to look like this guy. I want to act like this guy because he's very good looking, but also he has this very real looking guy. Like he doesn't look like this 6 feet tall, six pack, flaunting like guy, like straight out of Greek mythology or something. He looks like a grounded guy who you would find good looking guy you would find in your neighborhood or something like that. So he's got that very boy next door sort of like an image to him also, and he's good looking also. And there was a point when I wanted to become an actor, and I wanted to like emulate Surya. So I think somewhere deep inside me, like how you said you trust Nani, I have a soft corner for Surya. I don't say I trust Surya because Surya's last 10 years worth of movies have not been a huge success. Now, long story short, this movie Retro had I'm pretty sure you covered this in your review of Retro also, that people had high expectations because, it's a Karthik Subbaraj movie. Karthik Subbaraj had made Jigartanda Double X just
Yes.
before this, which was a huge, huge hit. Even though it didn't have like the superstars of Tamil cinema. So there was a lot of expectation, to be honest, when I was going to the theater. And I've been married for 4 years now. Mine was a COVID wedding, and unfortunately, we didn't have a Surya movie in the theaters in the last 4 years. I could take my wife for and show to her and say, this is the Surya I used to admire when I was a teenager, and this is the guy who made me want to get into movies and get into acting and things like that. So when Karthik Subbaraj and Surya was coming together, the songs were released on YouTube. It had like crazy viral views of 2.2 crore views for the trailer. The songs have, like, I think, even more views. I think the expectations are bound to happen. Like, in my head, I'm like, this has to be the movie because Karthik Subbaraj's filmography is 90% flawless, like except for Jagame Tandiram and I think one more movie. I think almost 90% of Karthik Subbaraj's movies have worked for me. And Surya, again, last 10 years has not had a theater hit. And I was going with my wife for this movie, and lot of baggage, right? But I have a very, very different opinion from what everybody else has. I think 90% of the people I've heard reviewers say it was absolutely torture to sit through. It was it was not up to the expectation. For me and my wife, somehow it worked. Like, I know it's a very controversial opinion from my side, because I know for you also, and for a lot of reviewers out there, it didn't work. But the reason it worked for me is because if you have seen the trailer of Retro, like, you have these very, very, like, the trailer itself is a roller coaster ride. If you look at the trailer on
Yeah.
YouTube, right? It starts like a violent movie, then suddenly you have people like giving clown laughs, and people are doing eccentric emotions. Like, I felt like the trailer was kind of setting me up for that, like, roller coaster ride. Like, one scene, it is like all serious, like, he's full, like, saying, I'm going to quit violence and all that, and then suddenly you have a guy like, he's like this, like,
Yes.
laughter are going on. There's a clown scene in that. Then there's one guy saying, I've made deer biryani for you. Like, so, like, the trailer itself kind of. And then, if you have heard, there's this song called The One. There's a song called The One, which is really viral on YouTube, where they talk about how this guy is the chosen one. The lyrics of the song itself is how this guy is the
Yes.
chosen one. So somewhere, like, I have this habit of, like, like, reading and watching as much as I can before I go for the movie, because I don't want to be disappointed in the theater.
Mhm.
So very, very controversial, or very, very different from what other people's viewpoint is. I was expecting this sort of madness in the theater. Like, I was expecting the movie to start on a serious note. I was expecting the movie to go into like a very, very, like, weird sort of comedy territory. Then, like, like some sort of, so Jigartana Double X also had this sort of, like, tribal people. It had like a politics of the repressed versus the oppressor. There was a system versus the people who are actually kind of downtrodden, who are helpless. So I think all of those politics was kind of squeezed into one movie, and that is where I think it kind of became overwhelming for the audience. And I'm not saying that my view is justified. It's just that my perspective is that I like the movie for what it is, but I understand that the reason it didn't work for a lot of people is I felt like it was a Surya movie. It had a love track. It had a love track. It had a comedy track. Then it had this whole prophecy thing. It had this whole. I mean, I know. I don't want to get into, like, spoilers, but like, it had a lot of elements towards the second half, like, about the chosen one. A lot of, like, again, it had throwbacks to the Mahabharata. It was calling back Lord Krishna's story. Like, it had a lot of things going on for it. So I think somewhere, yes, the movie kind of got overwhelmingly, like, like, it had a lot of content going on, which maybe didn't work for majority of the audience, but weirdly for me and my wife, it worked. And I did review it and give it like an 8.5 star rating out of 10, which is like quite high. And a lot of people actually even called me, messaged me saying, do you really think it's an 8.5? Everybody is giving it a very bad rating. Everybody is giving it a very, very, like, sort of like a polarized sort of an opinion. And how I would end this my opinion on retro is that I think it's a very polarizing movie. Either you love it or you hate it. I don't think there is a middle. Like, okay, it's I mean, that's what I think. Like this movie does to you. Either you're like, okay, yeah, like this fried my brain. Like the second half, you're like, okay, this fried my brain, or you're like, okay, it's a Karthik Subbaraj movie. This is exactly what I was expecting. So I don't know. Like, I feel it's a polarizing movie, to be honest, from my side. But I know, like, a lot of people might have had a very bad experience with retro also. So I take that into yeah. That's
Into
about my
consideration.
rant on retro.
Well, in my case, like the first half for me was very good. Even
Hmm.
like the movie theater, and I'm telling you, like, what is my habit with my husband? We usually sit in a movie theater. We like to sit in the back part, and we also like to observe the crowd. Because what happens
Okay.
sometimes, maybe I don't know, you're disconnected from the movie, or something happens in your mind that you're not watching completely. So from the
Hmm.
beginning till the interval, the crowd was super animated. People went on the stage to dance. Everyone was super happy. Once
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
interval started and it continued, there was a bit of hooting, there was a bit of whistling, but as the movie continued, the crowd completely, like, they died basically.
Hmm. Hmm.
They,
Hmm.
like, it
Hmm.
was like that in the first half, that even if he just smiled, if he was just taking out the cigarette or something, they were screaming their lungs out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
after the interval, it was like so underwhelming. And here, like, we can, like, if you want a bit of debate, like, I think in
Hmm.
here that is the main thing about perspective. For
Yeah.
me, what
Yeah.
happened is that they had so many elements in the movie. And
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
if you separate the elements, you have good elements. Like, you have, like you said, the chosen part, you have great actors, you also have a love story, you also have like this unpredictable part that can make you laugh, random
Yeah.
things. Like, it has a lot of things. But the
Yeah.
main issue is that they were not able to put the pieces together properly.
Yeah.
There are movies that,
Yes.
yes, they're, uh-huh.
No, no, no. I was just saying you're absolutely bang on. I think as if you look at every aspect individually, the camera is good, the coloring is good, the acting in parts are good. Surya's acting is up, like almost flawless. I'm not saying this as a Surya fan. I'm pretty sure the audience also attested for Surya's acting. Like even like him just smiling, looking at a mirror, kind of warranted like crazy like applause. So you know the kind of range the actor has. And so the reason I kind of also gave it an 8.5 rating is because I also look at the effort the filmmaker and the actor has put into the movie. Because if I feel the making is lazy, the movie is kind of like, they've just put in a template or they put some formula sort of things that, will work for the masses. I feel like, okay, they have not put in effort. But here, I'm pretty sure even the people who hated the movie will not kind of discount the fact that there has been effort put. Like the movie is definitely like the script. There's a lot of things happening in the script. There's a lot of things happening from like a cinematography perspective, locations, the clothes he's wearing, the costumes, the designs of the sets, everything except for some of the stunt scenes. I'll be honest, I felt it was over the top. Like after a point, the stunt sequences started getting a little overwhelming for me. I'm like, okay, again and again. And the other aspect I think might also have not worked is there were a lot of inspiration from Hunger Games and your there was I think a little bit of Gladiator. Like there was elements of those movies also kind of put into this world, and I felt like yeah, it kind of became a little overwhelming. Like
It
when a
fell flat
lot of
a
elements
bit.
came in. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, like you said, well, again we go here in the opinion of
yeah,
reviewers, you can say like that.
yeah,
I think most of the movies that we see as reviewers, they take a lot of effort. Even
yeah.
Kangua, if you watched it in the movie theaters, even at home, if you watch it, it has a lot of effort. We can see
Hmm,
Surya, we cannot discuss his acting because we know he's amazing. I
hmm,
loved his acting from the Jai Bhim movie. From there I watched
hmm,
it and it
hmm.
was like he's
Okay.
amazing. And
Hmm.
I also, like, as a watcher, I want to see a good movie from him. And
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
they put a lot of effort, but we also cannot deny the fact that
yeah,
they were not able to close whatever
yeah,
element we had there. They had amazing actors as the villains,
yeah.
but we had so many villains that they just scattered them.
Then connect. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
They are showing in the first part that the father, he's very powerful, this and that. But the way
hmm,
it ended and the way they show,
yeah,
like, the kind of post credit scene, it is so underwhelming. that you will
Yeah,
not be
yeah,
satisfied as an audience. And that
yeah,
is the
yeah.
thing that for me, like, it didn't click how they closed this. One, the love angle, there was no point of putting this love angle that was there. Because even I think
Hmm.
as a woman, you'll be like, okay, it is not completely like that that you'll behave with your husband or with the person you love. There are
Yeah,
many
yeah.
scenes that you'll be like, why? First, for me, that I understood that the movie had some flaws. The first
Hmm.
opening scene that we have these people in Africa open this containment for this
Yeah,
goldfish, I think it was. The
yeah.
acting was so bad, so bad. If you're
Yeah,
putting such an effort in the movie, if you're
yeah.
putting like so much in this movie, why you're hiring such bad actors in the beginning? That will
Yeah,
leave you
yeah.
with a very bad taste. And that is the
And
thing. Like,
you're talking about the actors who are playing the African characters over there, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because in the end,
So
the
yeah,
movie is an ecosystem. You cannot
yeah,
only judge
yeah,
because Surya's acting is amazing or everyone's
yeah,
acting was on point. Yes,
yeah,
everyone's acting was on point. For that, we can give, I
mm,
don't know, we judge from 0 to 5 stars. We can give 2 stars,
yeah,
2.5.
yeah,
But when the other elements that are there are not
yeah,
clicking, are not working, the audience is getting disconnected.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then that means there's a flaw with the movie, and you
mm,
cannot be
mm,
biased. Like, even I don't know. Let's put an example. I love Dr. Shiv Rajkumar. His
mm,
movies for me are amazing. From when I
mm,
watched his first movie, it was something else for me. And but if the movie is not good, you cannot be
mm,
blinded because you like someone else. As a
yeah, yeah,
reviewer, it is our duty to be impartial and also say
mm,
like, okay, this is an issue, this is an issue, and this is an issue.
mm,
And
mm,
I have noticed lately in many movies that the main issue is that they don't know how to close the movie.
mm, mm,
After the interval, we see that it is not cohesive. We don't see like everything is coming up together properly. Many times we saw in, for example, in Leo, we saw
mm,
that the villains that they had were so strong, but they were not
mm,
able to take advantage of them. Such an amazing actors, the two of them, they went to waste. Here, the
mm,
same thing
mm,
happened. We had so many villains, we had so many people in here that they just went to waste because they didn't know how
mm,
to do
mm,
properly the after the interval. Like you said,
mm,
they tried to add so many parts that it became
mm,
so redundant that people simply get disconnected from the movie, and that is a big issue.
yeah, yeah. But just like a last bit, I just wanted to add here, right? Because maybe it's again different perspectives here. Because if you now, I'm somebody who reviews Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi movies, and I usually watch all of these four languages in their original, like how you guys went and watched Hit in Telugu. I don't
Yes.
understand Telugu, but I try to watch it in the original language. Tamil and Hindi, I can understand. Malayalam also I can understand. But there is a small leeway there, right? Because if I'm reviewing a Malayalam movie, for example, which we'll come into. I know I want to speak about Tudaram later, but let's say I watch a Tudaram. Now I'm going to give Tudaram, like say, a 9 out of 10, completely keeping in my head the Malayali audience. Now, when you said you guys, when you go to the theater, you look at other audiences, like expression, like they're hooting, whistling, and stuff like that, right? Like retro, also, if you look at it, I'm looking at from. I try to look at it, even though I'm not a Tamilian, I try to look at it from a Tamil audience perspective. Now, if you look at Surya on screen, people are hooting, whistling. There are some points in that movie where you also don't understand why are they hooting, why are they whistling. Like there are some like callbacks, there are some references to his earlier movies. Suddenly, when
Yeah.
he starts, he starts flaunting a goatee, or he's wearing a bike, or he's wearing a retro jacket. Like you will see a different sort of an applause. That's because it's a callback to either one of his earlier movies, or it could be a callback to an earlier Rajnikant movie, or maybe like some work he has done in the past. Like if you look at Hit, for example, Nani has this dialogue where he says, where he kills a character, and then he says, the character before getting killed says, "You will not survive here," and then he says, "This is exactly what everybody has been saying since I came into the industry." Like there is a scene, I don't know if you would have caught that, because it is in Telugu and
No.
there was no subtitles, but it's there in the trailer. If you watch Hit trailer, it's there in the trailer. So it's like a homage to Nani saying that a lot of people wrote me off from the Telugu film industry because I was an outsider, or I was not expected to succeed in the Telugu film industry. So my point is, I feel there's a lot of elements that also shape like reviews. For me personally,
Yes.
it could be sociological, it could be the kind of audience. It could be the kind of people that are in the theater. It is also the history of the actor, the kind of movies he's done in the past, what kind of audience he's catering for, the filmmaker, etc. Now, completely agree that retro doesn't work like how, like, say, a Pushpa would work, or how a KGF would work, or how would an RRR would work, because those movies definitely, with the box office numbers, they tell you, right? It has worked for a pan-Indian audience from different states. But when you come to Tamil movies, I know I'm going off topic a little bit here. Tamil movies don't work pan-Indian level may the way Telugu movies work, because Tamil movies are very, very, it is very, like, region centric, like the politics they talk about, the kind of themes that they try to explore, the kind of language they use. Even the reason I was trying to allude to this point is because you mentioned the African characters kind of look funny when they were acting. If you look at a lot of earlier Tamil movies, you will see like American characters. You have American presidents speaking in Tamil in some old Tamil movies like Dashavataram. You will actually see the American president speak in Tamil. You see a movie like Billa, you have the Malaysian police speaking in Tamil. Now you can say, okay, there are characters in those countries who speak Tamil, but you have like people who are from a different ethnicity actually speaking in Tamil movies. The reason that is done is because Tamil filmmakers usually try to target the Tamil audience primarily. They don't really think about, okay, how is like a foreigner going to think? How is a Malayali going to think? How is a Teluguite going to perceive this movie? How is a North Indian going to perceive this movie? Their first and foremost, like, focus is their Tamil audience. And that is why you see Tamil movies, you see those sort of audience reaction. It is because there is some sort of subtle communication happening between the filmmaker and the Tamil audiences there. And I'm guessing even when you watch retro, most of the whistles and hooting was coming from the Tamil crowd who was watching this movie. So for me, even though I and my wife looked at each other when, like, to your point, when the African characters started acting very funnily, we were like, okay, that's not great acting. But for Tamil movie standards, now I know, like, this is not me trying to generalize or going to say, okay, that was okay, like, bad acting can slip in. I was actually even expecting the African characters to start speaking in Tamil. Like, that is the kind of leverage I'm giving in my head for Tamil movie characters, because it is a cultural thing, right? Because most of the time what happens is Tamil audiences switch off if people start speaking in any other language. Like, if you speak in English, you speak in Hindi, because you see a hit, for example, I think you guys mentioned in your review also, like, the characters were speaking in Hindi, the characters were speaking in the local dialects, the characters were not speaking just in Telugu. So even if you're not a Telugu audience, you can understand everything that's happening, even if you know Hindi. That is because Telugu movies are usually more pan-Indian, more, like, culturally diverse, to kind of incorporate other cultures into their movies. And this is not a criticism in any shape or form, but if you know the history of Tamil movies usually are very true to their region, to their language, to the kind of audience that come to watch their movie. Their first priority is usually the Tamil audience. So things that we find a little quirky or a little funny, like a foreign character speaking in a very funny way, sometimes for Tamil audiences and for Tamil filmmakers, that's like least of their priority. And I'm not saying that's justified. I'm just saying, having watched so many Tamil movies, I'm like, okay, that's like bound to happen. Like, I'm not saying, like, from a pan Indian level, like, definitely you look at it, it is not justified. Like, definitely those are mistakes. But I think we've become kind of accustomed to that sort of quirky makings here and there, that we are like, okay, that doesn't come into consideration when you're reviewing a Tamil movie. I mean, this is my personal take. It could be controversial also. But yeah, I mean, I'm talking from my experience with having seen those of characters in Tamil movies.
Well, yeah, I think that obviously, like you said, in Tamil movies, I know they mention like sometimes they put people that speak Hindi, sometimes they put
Yeah.
people that are foreigners. Even like if you watch also Indian serials, like for example, right now we have the Ramayan. They also have one foreigner that he speaks in Hindi and all this stuff. But I think that
Hmm.
if you're putting such a like pan Indian movie, you're releasing it like that. And even for your crowd, I think it is like, I don't know, it is courtesy to also find
Yeah.
people that at least have a decent acting. Either it is in English, either it is in Tamil, because there are a number
Yeah.
of African actors that are actually very good in what they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are also foreigners that are also quite good in what they do, and either they speak in Tamil or whichever language it is,
Hmm.
but you are showing this as your presentation of a movie. It is the one of the first scenes that you're showing
Yeah.
to the crowd. If the movie tone is like that, that it is completely only comedy, or that it is
Hmm.
like, okay, you know, as a crowd that this is completely comedy scene, So
Hmm.
sometimes the bad acting becomes part of that, like that funny part.
Yeah,
But in
yeah,
this,
yeah,
they're trying to show like they're big in this and they're doing this trafficking.
yeah,
So, like I said, if it is your presentation, it is a bit odd that you're showing people
yeah,
that they
yeah,
have such bad acting
yeah,
skills.
yeah,
In my case, like for me, I wouldn't say it is justified. And I know, like you said, like you have watched a lot of Tamil movies and all, and
yeah, yeah,
obviously the experience that you have, it is not the same as mine.
yeah.
But in the end, you're releasing it also pan India. You're showing it to other crowds. This one had actually
Hmm.
subtitles that we could
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
We always watch.
yeah.
Usually, me and my husband we watch in the original language because you miss a
Hmm.
lot in the translation.
Yeah,
So, still, like
yeah.
these are things that I consider that should be improved. Because in the end, whether it's Tamil, it is Marathi, it is Malayalam, you should have a quality for everyone, even
So
for your
how I
own.
would, sorry, how I would kind of have come in terms with these things, right? So I don't know if I mentioned this in my intro. So I was in Dubai for like a longest time, like 15 years of my upbringing, childhood, and schooling, everything I did in Dubai. And then when I shifted to India for my higher education, for my college and things like that, right? There were a lot of things about India that didn't fit in my head. Like I'm like, there's a lot of corruption. Like there's a lot of like, you look at the infrastructure, for example, like Dubai, the infrastructure is kind of like world class. And then you come to India, like India definitely has its positive side. Like movies is one of the biggest positives I see about India. But then there are a lot of factors about India that you don't like, and you keep whining about like the roads, the footpath, the infrastructure could have been cleaner, could have been done better. And then there's a point after 5 or 10 years, like even my wife gets very irritated with me, like whining about India and its infrastructure and how the government is corrupt and things like that. Like she kind of starts to say like that's how it is. Like come in terms with it. Like that is how it is. So I think I have kind like to your point. I know this the point you made is exactly correct. Like Tamil movies, may they should definitely pay attention to the pan Indian aspects of a movie because a lot of audiences they should appreciate the fact that a lot of diverse audience are watching their movie and they should take care of it. And that is how it should be. But I think somewhere we've learned to adjust with it, like being like how I told you about, like in India, we've learned to adjust about the infrastructure, the corruption, things like that, though we know it is not the correct thing. I think that's where I'm coming from. I completely understand your point that yes, I understand that Tamil movies need to fix that aspect about like their foreign characters and the acting. But then somewhere I think we've also come to accept, okay, this is the limitation of the system. This is how they're doing it, and we're just going with it. So yeah, I completely agree with what you said, and I think in the future, I think we'll definitely see a lot more effort being put into those aspects uh, when it comes to any sort of like regional movie in India.
Here,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add like
Yeah.
one little grain, and I think that sometimes as reviewers, we
Hmm.
forget this part that we also carry a responsibility. Because
Yeah.
if you think sometimes, okay, your channel is not big, my channel is not big, whatever it is, but
Yeah.
still there's people watching us, and
Yeah.
it is this
100%.
part. It is my personal opinion that as reviewers, it is our responsibility to be non-biased to
Yeah.
whatever we're
Yeah.
watching, whichever it is. Like even if I watch a Hollywood movie and I say no, this is crap, like it is what it is. Simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is like if you don't raise this concern, if you don't
Hmm.
mention it, like okay, this is what is wrong,
Hmm.
I feel like eventually, if other people also continue and they mention, eventually they will have to fix it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
government is one thing. The government, it is something that it is out of our reach because we're not politicians. We're not involved in all this stuff. I'm
Yeah.
foreigner, so I have zero opinion on this part. I cannot say anything
Yeah.
related
Yeah.
to that. But at
Yeah.
least as reviewers, which is our work, which is our passion, what we
Yeah.
actually love
Yeah.
to do, at least we can pinpoint like, okay, this is not good,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
at least one person will start thinking and that will raise the concern, and sometimes it can happen. We saw it
Yeah.
happen, I think, with few movies that the animation
Yeah.
was bad. One person
Hmm.
said it, then the rest continued, and eventually it changed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
Completely
that
agree.
we have that responsibility to
Yeah.
keep it more.
100%. Yeah.
And between that, like talking about this, like you grew up in Dubai, and in my case, I grew
Yeah.
up in America. What are the
Hmm.
difference that you see in cinema between like in there and then in here, and also you being party like you're Indian? What
Hmm.
is the main change that you see?
like I told you, I grew up in Dubai. I did my, like, you can call it kindergarten to kindergarten one, kindergarten two, and my entire schooling in Dubai. And then I came to India for my college education. So I would say the forming years, the primary growing up years was spent in Dubai. And honestly, Dubai, if you know, Dubai is an Arab country. Dubai is in the mid. Dubai is part of a bigger country called United Arab Emirates, which is
Yes.
UAE. It's in the Middle East, and I don't think they have a very very strong film culture in the Middle East. Like they don't have like regional Arabic cinema that is usually like out every week and people like watching Arabic movies and going crazy about it. So the culture is completely different, right? So we as the Indian diaspora that migrated from India to Dubai or any other Middle Eastern country for that fact are the ones who are actually bringing this culture of watching movies and being mad about them.
Yes.
Um and like kind of carrying it with us because the speciality about the Middle East or the UAE for that factor compared to the US is that even if you live in UAE for like say 30 years, 40 years, your parents migrated even before you were born, you're not going to get citizenship in Dubai if you were born in Dubai or your parents spent n number of years in Dubai. There is a point when you will return back to your motherland, which is India. So in my case, even though I grew up in Dubai, even though my parents were in Dubai around the time I was born, this is a thought that you're always growing up with that you're never going to be a UAE citizen or you're never going to get a Dubai citizenship because that's not there. Like I think Dubai just introduced something called the golden visa very recently where you get like a 10 years visa. Like 10 years visa is like I think the maximum you can kind of get. So the reason I'm saying about all these things is when an Indian travels no matter what, like is it could be a second generation you're going there, your parents are already there, you're moving into Dubai, you always carry a lot of nostalgia with you. Like your parents always tell you about the movies they watch back home. You're growing up watching a lot of Indian movies. I'm pretty sure I don't know of any Indian who's grown up in Dubai without watching Indian movies because that's kind of like the link that connects you to your homeland and kind of makes you feel like this is what you're going to go back to. And honestly speaking, the Indian movies and what India you see on ground is completely two different things. And I don't want to go off topic, but I'll tell you a lot of my perception of India was shaped by movies. So I'm imagining like the heroes that I saw in Indian movies are going to be there on the streets in Bangalore, in Pune, in Bombay. I'm going to find these guys. It's not the case, right? Like you have a very different sort of a lifestyle in
Yes.
India versus what they project on movies. If you see the movies are usually massy, they try to project a very super natural sort of abilities in the heroes. They try to give you a
Larger than
fantasy
life.
world. Yeah,
Yes.
because life is a kind of difficult on ground for majority of the population here. And the movies try to kind of get you to forget those kind of things, like what you see on the ground. It is kind of disconnected from reality, you can say, but it also kind of gives hope and fantasy to a lot of people in India and also to people like me who grew up in Dubai, who was aspiring to come to India. So that is Indian movies for me. When it comes to Western movies, I think that's the other thing that is very popular in the Middle East, right? Like I think English movies, which I think English movies were in its prime when I was growing up. You had franchises like Jurassic Park, you had Titanic, you had all these movies that you can call it like it went up like it. I don't think there are many people who have not watched Titanic or there are many people who haven't watched Jurassic Park across the globe, right? It touched almost all cultures. So the same way Dubai also was touched by a lot of Hollywood movies. I think the last movie that was released when I left Dubai was Avatar, the first part of Avatar which came out. So I think till then, I think Hollywood was in its peak. Like all the like Steven Spielberg movies, you had Quentin Tarantino movies, you had David Fincher movies like Fight Club, which were cult classics. All these movies were talked about in Dubai as well. But I think Indian movies definitely had its parallelly. Indian movies also existed because for its supernatural, like out of the world dances, songs, colorful sets. And I think Bollywood used to at that point, Bollywood used to be the dominating factor from Indian movies. You wouldn't have
Yes.
this phenomenon of pan Indian movies. South Indian movies never got spoken about as much as it's getting spoken today. I don't think people would go and watch a Telugu movie or a Tamil movie if they don't speak the language. Back in the day, even Arabs, even a lot of Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, a lot of other country people also used to watch a lot of Bollywood. They all understood Hindi. they were all fans of Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, or Amir Khan. It was either of these three guys. And I think as a Malayali, being a South Indian, I still grew up on a lot of Bollywood and a lot of Hindi movies because of uh, this culture that I saw in Dubai. So unlike the other South Indians, I was more exposed to Bollywood. I would say that is one thing I see in me different. If I would have grown up in Kerala or if I would have grown up in the south of India, maybe my exposure to Bollywood and Hindi movies would have been a little bit lesser. And yeah, I think like to your point, right? Like Tamil movies was very relevant in the Tamil diaspora. Malayalam movies was very relevant in the Malayalam diaspora. And maybe that is also the reason now you start seeing this pan-Indian phenomenon. A lot of people are talking about Malayalam movies, and I did a video about this also, that how Malayalam movies have suddenly gained prominence. But the point is, Malayalam movies have been always there. Like Malayalam movies have been there for the last 50, 100 years. But the thing is that it was only relevant in the Malayalam community or the Malayali community, the Kerala community until a point. And yeah, I think all that changed post COVID. So I think that's my take on, like the different film
Yeah.
industries and growing up in the Middle East. Yeah.
Yeah, but like what I wanted to say is like, for example, me as an American,
Hmm.
I had this thing like whenever we watch movies, we just watch the movies and that's it. Even if there's an actor, for us, they're just influential people that they have a lot of money, they might have some
Hmm.
power, and like we might aspire to be like them. That is
Yeah.
as like the biggest that can happen in our side. But here in
Hmm.
India, you celebrate cinema. You live,
Yeah. Yeah.
you breathe cinema. It is
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
different. Because in our
Hmm.
side, we will never see people going in the middle of the stage and dancing. You'll never see people that they're like almost dying for their actor, that they see their actor as a like a god. It never happens.
Yeah.
Like, why you think it is like that in here, that Indians are so attached to their actors, why they actually love cinema so much compared to the rest of the world? Because it is a unique thing that happens in here. It
Hmm.
doesn't happen anywhere else.
So I'll tell you, it's very nuanced. Okay, now me being a Malayali, me being from Kerala, right? To answer your question, in Kerala, it's not like that. In Kerala, we've had actors standing for elections and losing out. Because if you look at Tamil Nadu, you always have an actor's trajectory. You take MGR, who is one of the most popular Tamil actors. You take actor Vijay, now who has entered politics. In Tamil Nadu, you see a trajectory where the actor goes, stands for elections. Even Jayalalitha, who was a former CM, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, was an actress. So you see this culture in Tamil Nadu. You see this culture where a lot of the actors transform into politicians because the people see them as part of their life. The people
Hmm.
see them as hope. The people see them as some sort of, like some sort of beacon of positivity and hope in their lives, and then that transforms into votes in real life. Now you compare that with something like Kerala, which is a neighboring state. And I know there's a lot of stereotyping and generalizing that happens when it comes to Indian states also. Like if you look at Bollywood audience or you look at the north of India, they look at south, and for them, I think it's recently people started realizing there are four different languages down south, like four primary languages. Even in the state of Karnataka, there are, I think, more than 4 to 5 languages. Like there's Kurgi, there's Tulu, there's Konkani, then there's Kannada. There's four languages in Karnataka itself. People are not aware of that. I'm
Yes.
saying just in Karnataka, but I'm talking about the entire South India. Mein, there are four prominent languages like Malayalam, Tamil, Kannada, and Telugu. There are four languages.
Hmm.
Now, all these four languages, all these four states behave very, very differently. Now, I was telling you the Tamil Nadu's example where actors transform into politicians. Similarly, it happens in Telangana and Andhra also, where Telugu film stars like NTR and all these guys have turned into politicians. Now you come to Kerala, it is very, very different. Kerala, I don't want to get into the political side of things, but Kerala is a very communist leaning state, one of the only communist leaning states in India apart from West Bengal. So in Kerala, they need somebody who's very rooted, somebody who's worked on people's issues, who is very, very close to the public life and politics of Kerala. So to answer your question, I think again, this hero worship is very, very different state to state. Like I think Tamil Nadu and Andhra and Telangana definitely this culture of worshipping actors, thinking of them as demigods. Like there are temples in I think Tamil Nadu and I'm not sure if it's there in Andhra and Telangana where actresses have temples, actors have temples in their names. So I think it is a very embedded thing in their culture that again, coming to Retro, the movie, right? I don't want to again go into spoilers, but there are actual instances in the culture where a normal human being has been personified into something supernatural just because of how emotional people are about these things. And movies, trust me, plays on your emotions. Like movies, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, I'm saying it kind of gives you hope. It kind of fills you with laughter. It kind of makes a boring day entertaining. So many of us, when we were stuck in COVID, we were watching movies from beginning in the day. There are people I know who watched binged on seasons and shows and just finished with it. Some of us cut it from reality, and then there are some cultures which are very embedded. Movies are very embedded in their culture. So I think in the South, especially, actors and heroes have always had that sort of an impact on people's day-to-day lives. Not so much in Bollywood also, I think. Like you will not see many Bollywood actors who become successful politicians, or you will not see temples for Bollywood stars. But I think this is very region specific. Like Kerala also, I'm telling you, right? Like as a Malayali, like we look at film actors as entertainers. Like there is a little bit, even like there's a lot of like stereotypes, like film actors are not smart, film actors are not street smart, film actors are not very intellectual, film actors are all about show off and showbiz. So I think based on different cultures also, these narratives keep changing. But I acknowledge the fact that yes, in certain regions of, even I think Shivraj Kumar, I think the person you were also mentioning in Karnataka, is a very prominent political figure as well, right? He was a film actor and he's also got a political presence. So I think the reason for that is India after its independence, right? I think films and cricket, and I think were considered somewhat religion like, because you have the masses, you have so many people following it, and these actors or cricketers like Sachin Tendulkar, or your actors like Rajnikant and Amitabh Bachchan, they have so much influence on millions of people, right? Because that's the onset of mass media. Like you didn't have channels, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have social media. Movies were like the most effective communication mechanism that was there in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 8. I think longest time. You look at till the 90s. Indian movies started off with the Marathi movie, I think Harishchandra, which was in 1923 or 1919, just uh, 20, 25 years before India got its independence. And you're talking about almost 50 years after independence for the channels to come in. So you had like, I think, domination of Indian film industries for the longest time, 70 years. And now you compare it with West, like you look at New York, you look at London, you look at cities like that. I think you had other forms of entertainment also apart from movies. You had maybe theater, you had ballet, you had sports, you had a lot of other things. But I think in India, for some reason, I think it's cricket and movies that dominated the narrative for the most of it. And in South India, definitely, like the actors were considered demigods. Even for retro, I don't know if this happened in your theater, like when Surya's that marriage um, scene was happening, where there was a dance. Like the audiences just ran towards the screen and then they
Yes,
started dancing
yes.
on that wedding song. So that is very unprecedented. You will not see this in a Hollywood movie, or you will not see this happen with even like for a Bollywood movie. I would say, like I think, yeah,
Uh,
it
in
definitely does.
Bollywood, I have seen it happen for Salman
Okay,
Khan. Like that is the
okay,
guy that I have seen him and Shahrukh. These are the
okay.
two people that I have experienced it myself. I know like what my mother-in-law tells me about Amitabh. I wasn't in that
Yeah.
time, but here being in India, I have seen it for these two people. And even
Hmm.
for my husband, like he loves Salman Khan. He is hardcore fan of him. It is like that if
Okay.
Salman will cry, he will cry with him.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think it is in Bollywood present. In
Hmm.
our generation, this new generation that is coming up, I don't see it, but at least this
Hmm.
Salman, this Shahrukh, I
Hmm.
see it happening here in Bollywood.
Yeah. I
Yes.
mean, if your husband is going to cry for Salman Khan scenes, you can think about like masses who've like basically like from generations, like they've been worshipping actors, right? So I think it's a very culturally, I don't think I have the exact answer to it because I came from Dubai. I, like I told you, I was first exposed to Malayalam movies, and for me Malayalam movie stars were never considered godlike. Then I got exposed to Tamil movies, and I got exposed to Surya and Vikram, who are considered to be more realistic actors in Tamil. Then I came to know about Vijay, Ajit. Then I came to know about superstar Rajnikant, and everybody has a different fans, like different
Yes.
type of
Completely.
fans. Like Rajnikant fans are not like your Surya fans. Surya fans are not like your Vijay fans. Vijay fans are not like your Ajit fans. And I think every fan is like a, I don't know if this is the right word to use, but it's like a cult in itself. Like those cults behave very, very differently. And I think till 20 years back, to your point, I think some actors were so big that they were considered gods by a section of the society. And I think to answer in short, when they danced, people danced. When they cried, people cried. There were mothers, I think, who considered people like Rajnikant and Amitabh Bachchan as their own sons, like in India. Like, they used to have the same emotion. I know this is out of context, but if you know, Ramayan was released in India in 1988 or 1989. During that time, it was a tele series which was broadcast on Doordarshan, which was a national television. That was the only TV channel that was available in India in the 90s and late 80s. When Ramayan was telecast in India, and this is across India, I'm not even talking about just south of India, right?
No.
The
Yes.
the person who played Ram and the lady who played Sita and the guy who played Lakshman, they were revered and they were even worshipped on the roads when they used to walk. People used to fall on their feet. So I think somewhere there's a thin line between reality and real in
Mhm.
India, where people's emotions are so at such a peak level. Like, I don't know, maybe you can tell me better why, you're coming from US and the Western culture is maybe very different from the Eastern culture, and especially Indian culture, where everything, people have a lot of emotions, I think, like which they connect with these filmy characters. I don't think to that extent in West or in Hollywood it exists.
No.
So
Yes, it is like you are watching the movie, you'll get the emotions, but
yeah,
then that's it. You might admire someone, but that's
yeah,
all. You'll not go to their
yeah,
home like here, like going to Salman Khan or the Shah Rukh Khan home. It is an attraction. Like
yeah,
everyone
yeah, yeah,
will go, and there's always people in there. It is completely different. Or even I think we went to Hyderabad and we
hmm.
were like, they told us that even in there, people like if they see Rajnikant or his home or something, people like do like it is they're passing in front of a temple.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
it is something else in India, but I think that is something that pulls us foreigners towards Indian cinema because you'll never
yeah,
see this passion anywhere else. Like
yeah,
even when you're watching the movie, we don't have any mass entry. We don't have any item song. We don't have
yeah,
so
yeah,
many things that are lacking, and the main thing that I feel that are lacking from like a while in Hollywood movies is the feeling behind it. Like here
hmm.
they do movies for fan service, which
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
heard before. Like recently
yeah.
we saw Ajit's movie. It was fan
Good, bad,
service.
ugly.
Yes. It was that.
Yeah.
Where else you
So
will see that? Only here.
that's the reason I said it's like every fan is like a cult in itself, because the fans are, sorry, the actor after a point has to think about their fans. Like how you said Good Bad Ugly was a fan service vehicle, that is purely because the fans have literally like died for Ajit, like not in a literal sense. Metaphorically, the fans are ready to die for the actor. The actor is committed to giving his fans what they want from him. So that's why
Yes.
like movies like Good Bad Ugly is purely done from the beginning to the end to celebrate the actor. And like people like again, like I was telling you, right, like there are some things in Tamil movies or in South Indian movies that I let it be, because you can't fight it. Like I'm going for Good Bad Ugly, I'm sitting there, people are hooting, whistling. The same thing that was happening for Retro was happening for Good Bad Ugly also. And this is how I'm treating it. I'm like, okay, Ajit's fans are getting like, it's like a drug, right? Like they're getting high. Okay, watching Ajit on screen. Surya fans are going, Surya is their drug. They're watching Surya on screen and they're getting high on that. So I would say at the end of the day, it is a make believe, right? They say it is a fantasy world that these actors create. And for the shortest period of time, and I don't want to again go into politics, I think Indians, being a developing country, being having faced their fair share of like, atrocities and hardships, and life in India is not very easy, and I can attest to this, given that I've lived in Dubai and then I've come to India. Life here, even just commuting on the road, is not an easy thing. You take your car out today, you're going to office, you're going anywhere, you have to face a lot of like a lot of hardships on the road, on the street. I think people need an escape from all of this reality, and that is
Mhm.
what I think they find in theaters and in movies. And I think movies are definitely a byproduct of what people have faced in their real lives. a mix of socio-political, psychological, a lot of factors. And I don't
Yeah.
think I have basically like zeroed down on the exact cause, and I don't think it's one cause. I think there are multiple causes, generations over generations, which has been handed
Like
over
sums
to
up.
Indians.
Yes.
Yeah,
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 100%. And talking about these generations, it is especially about the industry that you love the most, which is this Malayalam. Why they call Mohanlal the complete actor? Why they call it so lovely? Like I don't know how you pronounce it, but it is Lalitan.
yeah. So Mohan Lal is his name, right? Mohan Lal. Lal is Lal.
Mhm.
So people call him Lal, and Chetan is basically Chetan means brother, like Anna,
Brother.
Bhaiya.
Yes. Yes.
Chetan is basically brother in Malayalam. So Lal is the second part of his name, and Chetan mixed with like combined with Lal, the C goes off because when two words come together, there is a special like sort of ritual of like taking of one word out of it, and then it becomes Lal Etan. So Chetan Lal comes together and becomes Lal Etan. So you're right. He's called Lal Etan. And your question is, why is he called the complete actor, or why is he
Yes.
celebrated so
Yes.
much in?
Like why? Like both. Why they call him like the complete actor? I have seen few movies of him, and I have
Yeah,
also
yeah,
seen some old videos where he dances and all. But still, like I'll not get the grip.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
why you call it like that?
Yeah. So I think this one is more easy for me because again, I hail from Kerala. I am a Malayali. So for me, understanding the craze about Mohanlal is much more simpler than maybe the other cultures within South
Mhm.
India. That's the reason I think I even gave you the prelude, right? That Kerala culture, Tamil Nadu culture, Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka culture is very, very different. Though
Yes.
when you're looking at it from far, you would want to generalize it. Even like how like we sit here in India and we look at America, and for us, all of the American states behave the same way. But then there's the East Coast, there's the West Coast. There are three different time zones within US. Like there are so many things that in India people don't even know about, like say America or like the Western countries. Same way, I think there are a lot of stereotypes about South of India. And I think Kerala specifically, because I hail from Kerala, I can tell you that Kerala is very, very different. I wouldn't say in a good way or in a bad way. They're very, very different in in its culture, like the cuisine, the political choices we make, the kind of entertainment we choose. So if you look at Malayalam movies, and if you whatever Malayalam movies you watch, there are very rarely Malayalam movies you will see over the top massy scenes, or like the intros that you mentioned earlier where like fan service vehicles. I've seen very rare fan service vehicles in Malayalam. Not saying it's not there. Like I'm pretty sure you watched the recent Empuran, which was a very, very bad example of that fan service vehicle, which was very badly done. It didn't do justice to fan service. Also, it didn't do justice to good cinema. Also, but if you take Empuran aside, Malayalam movies 90% of the time they are very, very content focused. And the reason
Yeah.
they're very content focused is because we don't have a lot of budgets. Like in Kerala, if you look at the map of India, Kerala is one of the tiniest states we have in India. The second or the not the second, maybe it's like in the tiniest five states of India, Kerala is definitely one of them. We have like a mere population of 3.5 crores, which is very less compared to all the other Indian states. Kerala has very less population, which basically translates into us having lesser viewership. Before this OTT culture came into picture, there was hardly any hardly any other non-Malayalis or non-Keralais who were watching Malayalam movies. So the Kerala entertainment industry had to solely rely on Malayalis, and all the movies that Malayalis made, the Malayalam movies that you watch currently, if you see, are very rooted. Like they're talking about the common person's problems. They are talking about like an average lower middle class person or a middle class person's issues in life. It might be a small thread, like like he goes for work today and his mobile is just stolen by somebody, and then what happens? Like it's like a rat and mouse sort of
Yeah.
like game behind that. Like very small thread. You will not see Tamil Masi movies, you'll not see Telugu Masi movies, you'll not see Bollywood movies being made on such threads. Even if you like take a Bollywood movie like Drishyam, which was remade from Malayalam, it's a very, very sort of like a very low scale sort of a thread. Like a murder happens, and then they try to cover up the body, and then
Yeah.
and the cat and mouse chase between the cops. So the reason Malayalam movies are so grounded is because of the constraint in budgets. Like we couldn't kind of imagine having like 60 crore movies or 40 crore movies. Our budgets are always restricted under 10 crores to start with. Now, Mohanlal, if you are talking about him as an actor, he rose to his prime 5 to 6 years before I was born. I was born in the 90s, like I told you. I'm a 92 born kid. Mohanlal's prominence, I would say, kind of started in the late 80s, 86, 87, 88. 93, the year after I was born was, I think, he delivered like, if you look at his filmography in the 93s, he delivered like 8 movies or 9 movies in that one year, which are like genres apart. Like there is a movie called Devasuram, which is a massy action movie for Malayalam standards. Like today's your Dalapati, Rajnikant's Dalapati, or you take Vijay's Pokri, or you take Surya's Iron, or like they're the movie that made them, right? Like that kind of like action movie.
Yes.
He delivered Devasuram in 93. He delivered a movie called Midunam, which is again one of the best comedy movies in Malayalam the same year. He delivered something called Manchitrathazhu, which was remade as Bhool Bhulaiya in 2007 in Bollywood. So 93 mein Manchitrathazhu was released. It was remade in 2007, like 14, no, not 14, my bad. 10, yeah, 14 years after Manchitrathazhu became a thing in Kerala in 93, it was remade into Bollywood. So the common theme that you see there is that Mohanlal has delivered movies across genres, across like it's timeless sort of movies that I can say. Like even today, if you take a Devasuram and remake it into any other language, the topic is still relevant. It's not like the movie was released in 93, so okay, that story is only relevant in the 93s. So Manchitrathazhu, Midunam, Devasuram. I'm just giving you 3 examples. There are 4 other movies he's made in that year, which I don't currently recall. All of the other movies were also great movies and were different genres. So Mohanlal, the reason he's called a complete actor is because he could handle different genres. Like if you look at any other actor in India, you take Amitabh Bachchan, he's known for his angry young man roles. You take your Shah Rukh Khan, he's known as a lover boy, he's a romantic sort of like his strengths remain there. You ask me what is Mohanlal's strength? I cannot tell you there's one strength that Mohanlal has. Mohanlal is a massy action hero. He's that. Is he is he like he's got the national award 4 times now, just to give you statistics also, right? He's won the national award 5 times, 3 for best actor, 2 times he's got special jury mention. And one of the movies in 97 or 99, he won the national award for the special jury mention. He collaborated with France, the government of France. It's a movie called Vanaprastham where he played a Kathakali actor. You will not see any other superstar in India who will paint the entire face with the Kathakali like mask and costume and all that and emote, because Kathakali is not an easy skill or an easy um, form of dance to learn. It takes 20-25 years for people to kind of learn the tradition of Kathakali. It's usually not learned also, it's passed from generation to generation by the dad to the son, because it takes years and years of training and grooming. And Mohanlal has gone and done a movie with the government of France, for which he won the national award, where he's a Kathakali artist. And that movie, if you watch it, like you said, right, in the beginning of the interview, you said, uh, you look at the movie for what it is. Like you don't just give it the leeway, okay, this can pass because you're trying. And Vanaprastham is one such movie where he plays the Kathakali artist. It's a pure class movie. Like it's not for any audience. Like Mohanlal also has a set of fans who are like mad about him. They really didn't care about his fans at that point. They just wanted to make a good movie, and they did an international collaboration in 97 when pan-Indian movies were not even heard of in Malayalam. Like this is when they went across the world and did something like Vanaprastham. So any Malayali you ask, they can talk about Mohanlal for hours, or like you can even just make this podcast about Mohanlal, because he has like 47 years worth of filmography across different genres, set very rooted in Malayalam. And this is something I'll tell you honestly, it's an emotion that only Malayalis can kind of vocalize, because you're coming from even Tamil Nadu, you're coming from Karnataka, or you're coming from the north. You will not be able to understand the craze for this man. And I can just translate the craze for you in simple words, right? Like Akshay Kumar's career, Salman Khan's career, to an extent, yeah, Akshay Kumar and Salman Khan's career Ajay Devgan's career can be in parts be kind of like, courtesy Mohanlal, because your Drishyam 1, your Drishyam 2, your Bhool Bhulaiya, your there are other movies also. Uh, there are some comedy movies also that Akshay Kumar has remade. Garam Masala. Then there is, I think, Katta Meeta also was a Mohanlal movie. These are all Mohanlal movies from the 80s that Bollywood is remaking in the 2000s or 2010s. So my point is, yes, the man can do any genre. Yes, the man is the most popular actor in Kerala. Yes, the man has won the most national awards. Yes, the man has gone and done art films with international countries. Yes, the man's movies have been remade into Bollywood after 20, 25 years. Again, he is considered to be like a born actor. Like he is somebody who does not go and change his hairstyle. Like if somebody from outside Kerala comes and looks at him, like this guy is not like the most good looking guy, the most health freak, the most fitness oriented guy. But the man doesn't need anything. The man
Yes.
with the kind of limitations he has, if you see him transform into a character, you will never see Mohanlal in that character. And like told you, he can dance. Not like he is not going to dance like at Michael Jackson's level or like at an Allu Arjun's level, but he can dance for the age and for his character's performance. He can dance. He's learned Kalaripayat, so he can do stunts like no other actor can at his 65. Very flexible actor. He can emote. He can cry. Has done over, I think, 400, 500 movies, of which I would say almost 100 of them or 150 of them have been like cult classics. Now, that is very difficult, even for a Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan. You can say, all these guys have a lot of recognition across India. But you look at Shah Rukh Khan's filmography, the amount of movies Shah Rukh Khan has done in his entire career, Mohanlal has years where he's delivered that in 1 year. Like the amount of movies Shah Rukh Khan, like there have been years when Mohanlal has done 36 movies. In 86 or 87, I think Mohanlal has delivered 36 movies. So I mean, you can ask me to talk about Mohanlal. I can give you like 100
For the
reasons
entire
why he's
podcast.
a legend. Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you can choose what reason works for you. But in one line, if I had to tell you, Mohanlal is the most Malayalis can relate to as an actor. Like they feel like, again, like I told you, moms feel like he's the son that they didn't have. Uh, Young guys feel like he's the father or the elder brother they didn't have. Like again, somewhere he's connecting with you emotionally by not doing massy things, but there are movies where he's just cried and you've cried with him. Like you're like, okay, like I can actually feel like somebody in my house is going through the pain he's going through. So, in very simple terms, I think there is no other actor who's come from the Kerala culture who's understood the Malayali like heart and soul like the way Mohanlal has done, and that's the plain answer for that. Apart from all the other justifications I gave you, that's the very simple answer for Mohanlal. And
And what
again, I just need to put a disclaimer that he's not done great movies that live up to his expectation in the last 10 years. At least that is what we've been like craving for from Mohanlal.
uh,
Yeah.
and what do you think, like, sadly, like you said, Mohanlal hasn't given like that type of movie that you're waiting for. But it is very ironic that the last years we have seen a rise in the Malayalam cinema like crazy. Like now you can see it in movie theaters. Earlier it was very hard to get a movie. Now it is super
Yeah.
easy to get them. What do you think influenced that?
You mean the acceptance for Malayalam
Yes,
movies
that
in
it became
pan.
pan Indian, because earlier I know you had these movies in the like the normal channels that you get them dubbed in
Hmm.
Hindi, and then you will
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
it happen with most of generalizing most of the South movies. And we know
yeah.
that these Tamil they were like they grew up faster, but nowadays it is this Malayalam industry, because this year back to back we've had so many good movies. Like, what do you think has helped?
I think the biggest contributing factor I have to give it to that small tiny virus that hit us in 2020, which is COVID. Because COVID, I think single-handedly has not only increased the reach of Malayalam movies, like I'm just talking at a very grand scale. You look at Tamil movies, Telugu movies, also have gotten a lot of acceptance. Like if you look at your Pushpas, you look at your RRR, you look at, I know Bahubali kind of started this trend in 2015, 2016, but the actual trend caught up after COVID, right? Like your KGF also, I think, came before COVID. So
Yes.
definitely one factor for KGF to RRR, Pushpa 2, all of these movies working out, and the North audience coming to know about Malayalam movies has definitely to do with COVID and the OTT platforms that didn't discriminate between languages. They kind of showcase Malayalam movies on their roster. Like you look at Netflix, you have in the top 10 in India, you will have a Malayalam movie. You look at
Yeah.
Sony Live, you will have a Malayalam movie sitting right in front of you, glaring at your face, right? So the access part was taken care by COVID, if I'm being honest, because Malayalam movies, a lot of people in the north, when I travel to the north, I speak to a lot of people in Delhi because I travel for work to Gurgaon. Sometimes they tell me, like they feel like Malayalam movies just recently started making movies in the like during 2020s or something. But I had made a video on Instagram that said 78 Malayalam movies were remade into Bollywood, and you guys are not aware of it. Like the Bollywood audience is not aware of it. Like I mentioned these movies like Drishyam 2, Bhool Bhulaiya, De Danadan, Your Chup Chup Ke, Garam Masala. All these movies are remakes of Malayalam movies from the 80s or 90s. So Malayalam always made good quality content from a very, very long time, which got remade into Bollywood. But after COVID and with the onset of OTT becoming a trending thing, I think a lot of people started opening up to regional cinema. And I think even like to an extent, like people like you, people like me, YouTube, social media reviewers, all of these guys started talking about regional cinema, right? Like we start like,
Mhm.
I think, and I don't want to get into controversial stuff here, but I think Bollywood to an extent did control the ecosystem for the longest time possible. And that is one of the reasons that triggered me to kind of start making content also. My first video was about how 78 Malayalam movies were remade into Hindi. Then my second video was how 234 Tamil movies were remade into Hindi. My third video was how 190 Telugu movies were remade into Hindi. That is a total of 502 South Indian movies that were remade into Bollywood. And some of the movies that are celebrated in Bollywood, like your Bodyguard is a Malayalam movie.
Yes.
Your like Salman Khan's half of his careers are remakes of South Indian movies. Akshay
Yeah.
Kumar's half of his comedy movies, like Hera Fairy is a Malayalam movie. De Danadan is a Malayalam movie. Bhool
Yes.
Bhulaiya
Many
is a
are
Malayalam movie. I have
remakes of
repeated
the
this.
recent Ravi Teja movies we have seen.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
like a lot of like Hero Panti. Tiger Shroff's half of Tiger Shroff's career is made from Telugu movies. Ajay Devgan's one fourth of the recent releases are from South Indian movies. So my point is, it is just that the north of India or the Hindi speaking belt has just opened up to the potential of South Indian movies. And Malayalam movies, again, like I mentioned to you, were made at a very shoestring budget. Like it was made at a very less budget. So maybe what also happened is OTTs found it very easy to purchase these movies based on the kind of intake price they have, right? It's easier to, you can purchase like 10 Malayalam movies for the price of a Tamil movie or a Telugu movie because the audience size is very, very different. Like Kerala is like almost maybe two or three times bigger than Goa, but Kerala is a very like small state, like I told you. Tamil Nadu has presence in Singapore, Malaysia. You have Tamil speaking crowd across the globe.
Yes.
Tamil Nadu is a big state. Telugu speaking states like Andhra and Telangana are big states. So you have a huge population that speak these languages. When it came to Malayalam, I think OTT platforms, COVID, social media reviewers recognizing the content has definitely played a huge part. And I think also this debate about Bollywood audience getting tired of remakes also has helped because people came to know Drishyam was a remake. People came to know Bhool Bhulaiya was a remake. People came to know like there was awareness that was building that okay, yes, ab Malayalam content hai yaar, like these are not original Hindi movies. People were talking about it. So I think curiosity creeped in. But I'll tell you honestly, today also I'm very disappointed how many people, even today when I go to Gurgaon or I go to Delhi, the first thing when I tell people, guys watch Sushma Darshini or guys watch Rorschach or guys watch this Malayalam movie 2018. First question I get
Yes.
from a normal person is, by Hindi mein dubbing hai kya? Like
Yes. That is
they
true.
want a Hindi dubbing. And I'm like,
Yes.
why? Like, what I know people, and this is a funny metaphor, okay? Like, there are people I know who travel across India, but they want dal, chawal, and they want their paneer and
Roti
roti
sabzi.
wherever they go, roti sabzi wherever they go. You go to Malaysia, you want your dal chawal. You go to Singapore, you want your dal chawal. My point is, yes, I understand people have sensitive stomachs and all that, but you go to a country, you travel somewhere, you want to explore the culture, right, of those places as well. For me, movies are the same thing. You're watching a Malayalam movie, try to watch it in Malayalam so that you
Yeah.
understand the cultural nuances. You understand small things like how do people speak वहाँ पे? Like there was a common stereotype that was propagated by Bollywood for the longest time from 1960s to 2000s, where all South Indian characters are dark. All South Indian characters have a funny accent where they would speak like English, like "Ayo Rama," this, that, and all. Like they will have a very funny way of speaking, be it Hindi or be it English. But my point is, there are normal people in every part of the country, and movies are a good way for you to kind of explore and like get to know that. So as much as I think in film communities and in social media circles, Malayalam movies are getting traction, I still don't think Malayalam movies are still like a Marco had to be dubbed into Hindi for it to get a pan Indian level acceptance. The second, like, the word of mouth started going out. Like, Marco was not a movie that became a super pan Indian sensation just in Malayalam. Like, there is a lot to do with dubbing also today. Like, I still think our audiences are still not mature to that extent where they're going to accept a movie for the regional language it is in. I still think the majority of the audience are not like us. They watch a Telugu movie in Hindi if they're a Hindi speaking audience. They prefer watching a Malayalam movie in a dubbed language.
Yes,
And
that
I
is true.
understand to an extent my parents, okay, like my parents' generation, they like watching it in dub because they cannot read subtitles the way we read. They are not fast enough for them to grasp, and they are not grown up in that habit of reading subtitles and understanding a movie. For an older generation, I understand, but I'm talking about people of our age who still demand, "Arey bhai, Hindi mein dubbing hai kya?" Like, I'm like, boss, how your English is good? You speak to me in English. Why can't you just like read the subtitle and understand the movie? And that is something I still don't understand about. Because, and maybe I'm coming from this part, right? Like, I am a Malayali. I watch Tamil movies in Tamil. I watch Telugu movies in Telugu. I watch Hindi movies in Hindi. So I'm like, if I can watch your movies in your language, why can't you watch my movies in my language? I'll watch English movies in English. Now I also understand there are like, if you go to Hotstar or you go to Amazon Prime, there is Spider-Man also available in Hindi dubbing. So I'm pretty sure there are people who like watching English movies
Dub-
also in their regional language. And that is a culture I think sadly we can't change, but I think the actual change will begin when people start watching movies in the original language with subtitles, is
Yes,
my
another
take.
thing is that it is also up to the taste. Like in my
Yeah.
case, I speak English. I also speak Spanish fluently, and now I
Oh,
can
wow.
understand Hindi. I cannot speak Hindi, but I can understand it. But
Hmm.
still, for example, like I watch anime, I sometimes watch K drama or something, and I always watch it in with subtitles in the original language. But
Yeah.
still, you'll find not only in India, like worldwide, people they would rather watch in their original language and they don't want to read subtitles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like you said, it is part of the preference. It is also sometimes some people are just lazy, they don't like reading. Some people they
Yeah.
don't read fast, so they're not able to keep up. Like you said,
That's fair.
maybe most likely as Malayalam industry will grow more, they will also get more
Yeah.
Hindi dub because in the end there are things that we cannot change and things that
Yeah. Yeah.
people will not change. And one part of that is that not everyone really likes subtitles.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here I wanted to ask you something. There's
Yeah.
one movie, and it was the first superhero movie that I watched in like in India, Indian
Hmm.
superhero, and that was
Hmm.
Minnal Murali. I hope I'm
Yeah.
saying it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
One, I think Tobino Thomas is super underrated. I have seen few movies of him, and he's amazing.
Hmm. Hmm.
But another thing is that we have in here like the help of I always forget his name, Basil Joseph.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the
We have
director.
him. Do you think they will do a second part?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because so their official take on Minnal Murali 2 has been that they have not officially announced a second part. Uh, they have announced the second part, but they haven't told us when they're going to start the production, the pre-production, the discussion. So nothing is on paper as of now. But we've been promised a Minnal Murali 2 is coming up. The problem there is, I think this is something that you will also agree with. Basil Joseph has gotten very busy as an actor now.
Yes.
He was the director of Minnal Murali, and
Yes.
you would have seen this with other actors and director turned actors also, like Farhan Akhtar, for example. Farhan Akhtar gave you some of the best Bollywood movies like Dil Chahta Hai, Dawn, Lakshya, and then he switched into acting and then he focused mostly on his acting career. Same is currently happening with Basil Joseph because he is getting a lot of movies as an actor. I think there is a release every month from Basil Joseph's side.
Yes.
So he's very busy as an actor. So I think those commitments are also making the start of Minnal Murali 2 getting delayed, like for the longest time. And we don't know exactly when Minnal Murali 2 is going to go, when the pre-production is going to start and when the shooting is going to start. That's the short answer for that. But that has to do with Basil Joseph getting busy with his acting skill.
Yes. Now Basil Joseph is like Akshay Kumar. All the time he's getting whenever you see he has a movie in the movie theater, there's another movie in the movie theater. It
Yeah,
is amazing like how like a year ago people didn't even know who he
yeah,
was. And now it's
yeah,
like, oh, the new movie of him, like also one OTT movie that was like super viral lately. It is
yeah.
amazing to see this change in people.
Yeah, so Basil Joseph, again, it's a surprise for Malayalis also. Like, I think I heard of him like 2 years back as an actor. Like, I saw his first work 2 years back, and I think off late, like to your point, every 2 months I'm seeing his movies in the theater. It's his posters are there. Initially, we Malayalis also were thinking, okay, like it maybe it's like a passing sort of a trend or something, because when one actor gives a good movie once, then people start giving him more and more movies, right? So we thought it's a passing thing, but I think good thing about Basil is he's been very selective about the scripts he's choosing. Or you have to say he's plain lucky, because all the scripts he's done, I would say 90% of them have either worked commercially or have been really good movies. Like be it
Yes.
Sukshma Darshini, be it his first movie Janeman, which he chose to start his acting career in, was one of the cult classics in Malayalam. Take Sukshma Darshini, take the recently released Ponman,
On my
take
yes.
take Guruvayur Ambalanadal, which was another hit
Maranamas, I
of
think so.
last year. Yeah, like you take Basil Joseph's filmography, he has at least delivered 90% of his movies, or 80% plus movies of his have been commercially successful. So producers are going to him more and more because they know he's a minimum guarantee actor. Like you put money into him, and his movies are usually small movies, like small budget movies, and it's usually it's comedy movies. And I don't know if you're going off topic on this one, but Malayalam movies after 2015, I would say, has had a huge dearth in comedy movies. And Malayalam movies, like I mentioned earlier, also, most of the Hindi remakes of Malayalam movies have been comedy movies. Hira Fairy, Bul Bulaiya, Chup Chup Ke, De Danadan, all of these are comedy movies. And Malayalam movies have been known for making very, very small budgeted comedy movies. And Basil has kind of come into that sort of category where he's a small actor who does comedy really well. The producer does not need to shell a lot of money into his movies, and they're making a profit out of it also. So off late, he's been in demand. He's like the hot cake that is the talk of the town.
Yes.
So yeah, and
Completely.
everybody's just waiting to see. Okay, is this going to again? Is it a passing thing, or like is he going to like? Is it just like a momentary thing, or is it going to last? But I think the guy has done quite a good job in choosing his scripts, and I think that has been the secret behind his success. Like he's done
Yes.
some really
They're
good
very
movies.
like offbeat movies, you could say like that.
Yeah, yeah,
That
very
they're
quirky
not
ones.
like each other. Sometimes he is a very serious character, but sometimes he's
Yeah,
also doing comedy. And
yeah.
I hope he comes back as director because Minnal Murali, like I
Is your
watched it
favorite?
alone here in this
Yeah,
OTT, and
yeah,
I think how you do this superhero in a village with so much like the resources are so minimal, but still he was able to pull off
yeah,
such a great movie with great
yeah.
effects and everything. Like I hope he continues directing, not only acting.
Yeah, so I think if you look at Minnal Murali also, I am hoping you found it to be a little funny in parts. Even though it was
Yeah,
a superhero movie, it was funny in parts. It was rooted, like you said, it was set in a village. I think you hit the nail on its head. Like I told you, Malayalam movies are basically the essence of Malayalam movies are that it's rooted, it is based in villages, it's trying to tell you a small story. Like the superhero, if you look at how he becomes a superhero, also, right? It's just lightning hitting him. It's not like
lightning and
he
that's it.
falls
Yes,
into, yeah, it's not like he's even the villain and the hero both are hit by lightning and they become superheroes. It's not like this guy falls into a super reactor, then some sort of molecules and chemicals are poured over him. Nothing
even
sophisticated.
the
Yeah,
suit that he puts up and everything, it is like
yeah,
so relatable as a
yeah,
superhero. Like you're like, yes, it is working for me. Like it is,
yeah. It's
it
like
doesn't
if
go
there
outside.
was it's like if there was a villager who turned superhero, that's exactly how they would do it, right? So I think Minnal Murli, again, it was one of those, it was a high budget movie for a Malayalam movie, though you will not believe it. It is definitely, if you compare it to all the other language movies in India, it would still be made at like a 20 crore budget or 25 crore budget, which is very less for any other movie. But for Malayalam movies, a 25 crore budget is still a huge budget. And I think
And
Basil as a
what they
director is a
did,
very visionary director.
the main thing that I have seen is that they know how to use the budget.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
one complaint that I always have sometimes whenever I give my reviews, like, okay, you're making a movie. What is the need of giving branded shoes to every single person or giving branded purse? But in
yeah,
Malayalam,
yeah,
it is very different because you see people that are actually in these lungi, broken shoes, and then even sometimes the
yeah, yeah,
umbrella doesn't work. And
yeah.
that is the thing. It makes it so relatable. Like even this recent movie of this, I'm very bad with names. I'm sorry. This
You can tell me
Mamuti,
the actor. Hmm.
Mamuti, that we saw this the purse, that the purse
Dominica
got
and the
lost.
Ladies Purse. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that one. It
Hmm.
is such a simple concept, but the way they were able to do everything, and Mammootty is a huge actor. He is
Yeah, yeah.
enormous.
Yeah,
Everyone knows him.
he's almost on par with Mohanlal in Malayalam film industry.
Yes,
So yeah.
everyone knows him, and still you see him in such simple clothing and using like it is unbelievable how they're
Yeah.
able to squeeze every single drop of the budget to make such an amazing movie.
Yeah, I think it's also a cultural thing. Like, I mean, I'm talking as a Malayali, right? Like, as a Malayali, I'm only watching Malayalam movies for the realistic portrayal of the characters. Like, again, to answer your question on why Mohanlal is so relatable, if you see Mohanlal's movies from the 80s, 90s, etc., and again, that is what Basil is also doing very well, is that the audience is able to relate to the character. Like, they feel like, okay, if I was a superhero, I would be like that. Like, this is how I would turn a superhero. Like, I don't have access to all these multinational corporations and these weird looking machines and all these things, right? Like, and I think even if you're from US or you're from Dubai or you're from any other part of the world, it is, I think, stories that connect with you even at a human level. You're like, okay, I have faced something like this somewhere in my life. Maybe it's not the same scene by scene replica of what you have gone through in your life. I think the essence of Malayalam movies is that groundedness of that, like what you said in Minnal Murali. Even if it's a superhero movie, they're utilizing things like a fan, or they're utilizing a thing like a lightning, or they're utilizing things that you find in the house. Every moment except for, I think, the climax where they are, again, they have like good sci-fi and like like good
Yes.
CGI done and all that. I think except for that, the entire, like, even like the scene where they run past vehicles, they jump onto a bus, like, these are actual props, these are actual locations, these are actual things that you see in your day-to-day life. So I think, to answer, I mean, just to connect to what you just recently said, yeah, I think that rounds up all of our conversation so far. Like, Malayalam movies are more about all of this. Mohanlal is all about all of this. I think Basil Joseph is also currently tapping into all of this, like the realistic, the budget constraint, the soul relating stories of common man. I think that is what I think is the common thread between all these things that we spoke about.
100% I agree because even the suspense thrillers that we have seen, one that is still in my mind is Reka Chitram. That movie, it was mind blowing for me, and like how they were able to pull it off, how everything happened. And here also comes the part that we have underrated actors that many people don't know. Here we have this
Yeah.
Tovina Thomas. We also have this Asif Ali, if I'm not
Mm. Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah. Asif Ali.
That
Yeah. Correct.
people, they don't even know that they have such an amazing movies, and how like their acting range, and simply it gives me mind blown how you're able, like, for me, Malayalam, many times they have Hollywood level movies. Like
Mm.
usually people say like that, and for
Yeah.
me, Reka Chitram was one of those. This is amazing, this is mind blowing, more people need to know about this movie. And
Mm.
still till this day, I think that Malayalam has dominated the year. You
Okay.
think that more people will know about these underrated actors?
I mean, definitely. I think Malayalam movies are breaking convention in a lot of ways, right? And I don't know if I'm making a related comment, but you look at Basil Joseph, like, would you I don't think anybody in Bollywood would imagine Basil Joseph as a leading hero if this was like 10 years back, right? Like, people have this perception when at least Bollywood was the thing. they always had this perception that I think that norm still exists in Bollywood. You need to be like 6 feet tall. You need to be like this fair skinned, six pack flaunting guy with like flawless looks. Like even today, people like flaunt Hrithik Roshan for his looks. Like you go to
Yes.
any like Hrithik Roshan fan, basically says he's like a Greek god. Why do you need to be a Greek god to be a leading protagonist or a character in a story? Right? Humans at a human level need to relate to the character. Like, do you relate to a Greek god looking like 6 feet tall guy with like like flawless abs? Like, I mean, for one or two stories, yes, those kind of actors are required, but you also need actors on all sorts of like all spectrums, right? And that's why I think the reason I said about Basil Joseph is a clear like a stereotype breaking hero. Like nobody would have expected him to star or become the hero in any of the leading industries, but Malayalam had a space for him, and he's currently a bankable star. He's a hero who is very bankable in Malayalam film industry. Same thing with Asif Ali, Tovino Thomas. I think these guys bring in different strengths to the film industry, and I think the crux of every actor's success in Malayalam film industry has been the choice of script. Like that is one thing you cannot overlook. You could be the most good-looking actor, like you could be Prithviraj, you could be Unni Mukundan who did Marco, you could be Mohanlal, you could be everybody. Like they say, everybody comes in all sizes, shapes, forms. Like you have every sort of like what is that thing called? Every category of a human being that you will find in Malayalam. And I think Tovino definitely got his sort of recognition with Minnal Murali. He's done something called Ajayendra Randa Moksham. I think it's ARM, which was released on Hotstar, which is also like a supernatural sort of a movie. If you've not watched that, check out ARM on Hotstar. That's kind of like Minnal Murali, but not exactly Minnal Murali territory. It is also supernatural, superpower sort of a thing. Uh, Asif Ali got his set of recognition with this movie called Kishkinda Kandam. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Yes.
This is also on Hotstar. So Hotstar actually has a lot of these good movies of these
Hmm.
actors, and this is not a promotion of Hotstar, but I usually find a lot of good movies when I go to
Yes.
Hotstar. Like you should check out ARM of Tovino. You should check out Kishkinda Kandam if you haven't. I think you
I
already
already
have.
watched it. Yes.
Yeah. So I think recently these actors have chosen scripts that are very, very solid, that there is no way in pan-Indian scale also you are able to ignore them. Because when I watched Kishkinda in the theater, this is the first time I saw so many Tamil audiences sitting for this movie. Like usually it's the other way around. Malayalis go for Tamil movies, but you don't see a lot of Tamil people come and watch Malayalam movies in theaters. The other underrated gem, I would say, I'm pretty sure now a lot of people know about this movie is Manjumal Boys. I think Manjumal Boys started this
Yes.
trend for Malayalam movies because it was the highest grossing Malayalam movie of last year and the Malayalam industry period until I think Empuran broke it, which I still like find it hard to believe. But Manjumal Boys kind of started this trend where a lot of Tamilians, a lot of Teluguites, a lot of South Indians started recognizing Malayalam movies. And I think we're getting there. And you're right, there are a lot of great actors. There's this actor called Suraj Venyaramud. Some movies, I don't know if you've heard of this. There's a movie called Extra Decent on Amazon Prime. He's
No.
acted in Vikram's Veera Dhira Suran also as the character called Kannan. He's one of those.
Mm,
My
okay.
point is there are a lot of performance-oriented actors in Malayalam that you just haven't seen because those movies haven't been talked about as yet. Like
Yes.
Kishkindagandam, Manjumal Boys, Minnal Murali, all these movies are the ones that have broken out of the state barriers and have gone out to other states. But there are still so many movies. I would say, just to give you a perspective, right? I got married to my wife 4 years back. We were dating for almost 7 years, and she's been watching Malayalam movies since 2018. She still hasn't watched. So since last 7 years, she's at least watching one Malayalam movie every week. Okay. And she still hasn't watched 93% of the good movies in Malayalam. So you can imagine, like since the last 7 years, she's been watching one Malayalam movie every week, and still she hasn't covered. She still only covered 7% of the good movies in Malayalam. Means that's the amount of good movies you have in Malayalam. And I'm not bragging because I am from Kerala or anything of that sort. It's just that I think we are currently getting our due with OTT platforms and all these things. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of actors in Kerala that haven't gotten their credit. Like Asif Ali has been acting since 2009, if I'm not wrong, and now people know his name, at least in the film communities. Tovino
Yes.
Thomas made his debut somewhere in 2013 or 2012, and now he's getting his recognition 12 years later. In even today, a common man outside Kerala might not know about these people. Like
Yes, that is
that's my
true.
point. Like there are a lot of great actors in Kerala. Like I told you, Suraj Vanjaramood is there. Basil Joseph is another good actor, and there are a lot of. I actually feel bad for who, like people who have kind of gotten out of trend. Like there were some great actors in the 90s and 2000s that we grew up watching. Uh, like the guy who acted in this movie called Bodyguard, which was remade into Hindi. His name is Dilip. Dilip used to be like the old Basil Joseph. Like Basil Joseph has basically replaced Dilip now by doing comedy movies. But these guys are all following templates of old actors who were a big sensation back in the day. I think Dilip is one of the most successful Malayalam actors not whose name is not known by a lot of people outside Kerala. Like Chup Chupke is a remake of his movie. Bodyguard is a remake of his movie. Then there are actors like Suresh Gopi. You mentioned Mammootty. There are a lot of actors from the previous generation who have not gotten their share because OTT platforms were not a thing back then. But I think today's actors like Dulquer Salman,
Yeah.
Prithviraj, Basil Joseph, Tovino, all these guys, I think, are currently getting at least a little bit of visibility because of these OTT platforms. So yeah, I think you've pretty much covered all these actors. But I just think the actors who haven't gotten their fair share of fame are the old actors who currently like don't have a lot of those movies coming on OTT platforms.
Yeah, that is true. Like now, there's one thing. One, we have YouTube. That is a huge
Yeah,
thing. Like if one YouTuber they just mention a movie, most likely people will go ahead and watch it. But back in
yeah,
the day, they didn't have that. And another issue is that even currently, there is a struggle of getting Malayali like movies from Malayalam cinema in movie theater. If you like in
yeah,
Maharashtra that we live in,
yeah,
usually we get like one show per day. That's it.
mm,
So it is in very odd timing. I hope that in
yeah,
the future it will be like that, that they release it properly, that we get
yeah,
shows in different times and that everyone can go ahead and watch it. Because another thing is that if you're a common person that works 9 to 5, you will not be
yeah,
able to go watch a show by 2 p.m. on a Monday.
yeah, yeah.
It is
Yeah.
not possible.
No,
So
I think I've heard of these struggles. Even people message me on my Insta channel saying that, we don't have a show. Like people wanted to watch Marco in the beginning before Marco became a trending thing, right? They were not able to find shows for Marco in their cities. But fortunately, like I have only lived in Bangalore, in Dubai, where you have a lot of Malayali community diaspora. So we've had these. I've not faced the challenges that you faced in Maharashtra and other like North Indian states. I've heard that Malayalam movies usually don't play, like they don't have enough shows. So yeah, I hope that gets fixed to your point.
okay, so we have talked a lot. Now we will go to the rapid fire round that I'll ask
Yeah.
you the first question. And I want you to be unfiltered. What do you think it is, like your opinion?
Yeah.
The first is, which is the best and the worst reviewer for you on YouTube?
So I mean, I'm sorry if this is not the right answer. I don't have worst reviewer. Again, maybe I did. So I just to give you. Sorry, I know it's a rapid fire, but just to give you a disclaimer, I did psychology. Okay, so I know everybody. I kind of understand everybody's reason for why they do the review a particular way. So I can't say somebody's bad. Like I can't, like I told you, right? Like when I'm watching retro, also I'm trying to justify when a bad thing is on screen. I'm like, okay, maybe this is why it was bad. So same way whenever I see a YouTube reviewer, I'm like, I know there are some people I really don't like. I'll tell you the kind of people I don't like. The kind of people who review a movie like it is like the word of God, right? Or it's like it's like the objective truth. And I don't ever think movies can be put forward as an objective truth. It is always your subjective perception on the movie at what time with who did you go and watch that movie also influences you. Like I told you, like you go with Mohanlal fans, watch a Mohanlal movie, you might even perceive the movie to be a big success. Like Empuran, a lot of people thought was a good movie, but it is just because they went and watched it with Mohanlal fans. So to answer your question in a very short format, I would say any bad reviewer on YouTube is for me somebody who thinks that their review is exactly what everybody else is going to feel about it. If you're going to put a subjective perspective, put it that this is my view on the movie, and you can say, okay, I didn't like this, I hated this about this movie, I this didn't work for me, that didn't work for me. So I will not take names, but there are people who sometimes believe that their review is what everybody will feel about that movie, and those sort of reviews I don't like. The person I like Tried and Refuse Productions. I think this guy's name is Jamie
Okay,
Pants.
yummy.
I like his review for one fact that first of all he's kind of had, I mean, he's built his audience over a period of time. Like he's built I think he gets a minimum of a lakh views or whatever, and he talks about Malayalam movies, and he usually, and maybe this is very rare for me. I'm again talking from a very subjective perspective that I appreciate his work because being a North Indian, being when he pronounces Malayalam movie names only, he doesn't have any Malayali friends also. Like the way he pronounces Malayalam movie names is very weird, is very funny for me. But he's making the effort, like for somebody from the north to go watch a Malayalam movie, and he doesn't bitch about any movie like outright. Like he gives you a equal perspective. Like he's like this could be why people liked it, this is why people could have hated it, and this is like the middle ground. And somehow he
Mhm.
nails the context. Like he nails a lot of like the politics, the behind it. Not the politics. I'm not talking about like literal politics. I'm talking about even when he's talking about a Mohanlal movie, he understands where Mohanlal comes from, what makes Mohanlal so great. Like it is not easy for somebody from a non-Kerala background to kind of have that sort of context. So I think as a Malayali, as a Keralite, I like Ride and Refuse Productions reviews purely because as a non-Malayali, I think he understands Malayalam cinema like nobody else. Now, again, it's a very subjective interpretation. It is purely because I think he does justice to Malayalam movies reviews as a non-Malu.
Yes,
So
his reviews are good
yeah,
and like very well. Like he breaks it down very easily that you can
yeah,
understand
yeah.
it. He gives positive and then negative, and it is up to you.
Yeah,
You're
and he
like,
also gives you like to your point. He also gives you that if you're a first person who's watching like say go watch his Tudram review for example, he will tell you why Mohanlal's fans are celebrating this movie. Like he understands the context on ground as to why this movie is big. So yeah, I think that guy. But from a bad review, and there are a lot of other guys. Okay, I watch a lot of reviews. I watch Bharadwaj Rangan. I watch Pride and Refuse Productions. I watch a lot of reviewers just to get a wholesome perspective. I'm like, okay, this is what Bharadwaj Rangan thinks, this is what Jamie Pants thinks, this is what, and there are a lot of local Malayalam reviewers also I watch because some movies that work for pan Indian audience don't work in Kerala. Like just to give you an example, Pushpa 2 was a big phenomenon in entire India, but Keralites hated the shit out of, sorry, Keralites hated the hell out of Pushpa 2. And Malayalam review, no, none of the Malayalam reviewers have given it a good review. So I was sit and watch Malayalam reviews also to get a different perspective on. And again, just to add a point, there is a flip side to Malayali movies being very smart or being very grounded. Malayali movie reviewers always have this filter when they watch a Telugu movie. Also, they expect something smart to come out of it, and I don't
yes,
think that is a good way to review a movie because when you're watching a mass masala movie made for a pan Indian audience, you can't expect it to be like talking about like space travel and black holes and all those things. It has to appeal to the common man, right? So there are some Malayali reviews also I hate because they end up reviewing a Telugu movie dubbed into Malayalam from the lens of how a Malayalam movie should be. So I think a reviewer who does not understand the context of what he or she is reviewing is a bad reviewer. I think
yes.
that's
It
how
is
I would
like
define a bad.
going and watching this Nandamuri movie and
Yeah, yeah,
expecting something super grounded. It is not possible.
yeah,
You
yeah,
watch it because it is him. That is
yeah.
the main thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so now, which is the best and the worst movie that you have seen from each industry?
Best movie, I'll start with Malayalam. This is again an underrated gem. I don't know how many people have watched it. The best movie I would say from Malayalam of recent times for me personally is Rorschach. It's a Mammootty movie. If you haven't watched it, check it out on Hotstar. Again, it's there on Geo Hotstar. It's a Mammootty movie called Rorschach. It's available in Hindi dubbing also if you want to watch it in Hindi. It's got subtitles. You can watch it in Malayalam. Worst movie is Empuran for me. This is again going to be controversial because again, I just want to give a disclaimer. The reason Empuran is the worst movie for me is again it took things out of context. It was marketed as Mohanlal's comeback. It was marketed as like the most expensive Malayalam movie that was going to become the first pan-Indian sensation from Kerala. There was huge expectations riding on it. It is a technically top-notch movie, but it didn't like have a story, screenplay that held things in place. Like to your point, it didn't come across a well-rounded movie. So for that fact, Empuran is the worst movie for me, not because there are not badder movies made. Definitely it's like an above average movie, but for the expectation Empuran set, it was the worst movie according to me. And again, it's a very subjective perception for me, and because I had high expectations in Empuran. So
Yeah.
Rorschach is the best movie, Empuran is the worst movie in Malayalam. I would say best Tamil movie is the first Tamil movie that I got smitten by. This is again an old movie. I like bringing awareness about old movies because I feel like new movies anyway. You guys would have heard about it. If you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have watched it. Watch Onion by Vikram. Like it has to be the best movie for me. Period. Because I don't think you can even remake it in Bollywood because the actor's performance in Onion. Have you watched Onion? So if there's one Tamil movie I had to recommend you to watch, I don't know even if it's available on OTT platform. That's the biggest challenge with these Tamil and Malayalam movies from the past. You don't find them with subtitles on OTT platforms, and I'm not able to show my wife also some movies because it's only available on YouTube. And if you're
Yes.
going to put up with the language without understanding without subtitles, but give it a shot. Maybe if you type on YouTube with subtitles, you might find it because Onion was such a craze back in the day. Onion is a supernatural movie that is very well grounded that cannot be remade into Bollywood surely because of the actor's performance. It is the movie that introduced me into Tamil movies, and it has to be my pick of the best Tamil movie, Onion. And worst movie, I'm going to controversially say it's Good, Bad, Ugly because again I like staying controversial. Like Empuran is not going to be considered bad for a lot of people, but Empuran is bad for me because I had high expectations. Same with Good, Bad, Ugly. I heard good reviews about Good, Bad, Ugly, and I went for the movie. Turned out to be a sheer fan vehicle, like you said.
Yes.
I mean, something should be there for a normal audience going there. Like me, my dad, my wife, we went for that movie. I was the most knowledgeable about Tamil movies of the lot. If I couldn't understand what was happening on the screen, imagine my wife and my dad's plight who does not even understand Tamil. Like it was personally for me, it was the most disastrous Tamil movie I watched in theaters. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to abuse me because for them, Good, Bad, Ugly, like if you're an Ajit fan, is like
Yes.
it's
It is
like a big
different.
thing.
Different
Yeah.
perspective.
And definitely, the movies are technically so. That's my point. Empuran is a technically brilliant movie. Good, Bad, Ugly is a technically brilliant movie. But technically brilliant movies just don't make a good story, right? So that's the reason I'm giving them the worst rating. Telugu movies, honestly, I haven't watched a lot. My favorite Telugu movie has to be Magdira, which is Ram Charan's
Mhm.
S.S.
Yes.
Rajamouli, Ram Charan's, and the reason I'm giving these the best movies is because these are the movies that introduced me to those languages. Like Onion is the one that introduced me to Tamil movies. Magdira is the one that introduced me to the scale of Telugu movies. Definitely Bahubali and all was bigger than Magdira, but Magdira is the one that actually told me, oh my God, like this is the imagination level of S.S. Rajamouli. So Magdira is definitely the best rated Telugu movie. Worst rated for me would be I haven't watched a lot of bad Telugu movies because usually I only go watch Telugu movies if they are really good. So worst rated Telugu movies I would say would be any Balaya movie because in Kerala we troll a lot of Balaya movies. That's like a trending thing in Kerala. We sit and troll a lot of Balaya movies. So I would think any of the Balaya movies. I have not watched any of the Balaya movies completely. I've just watched it for the fun of like trolling and things like that. So that's that. Now, last but not the least, coming to Bollywood, my favorite Bollywood movie is a movie called Johnny Gaddar. I don't think anybody would have heard of this movie unless they are like crazy film lovers. So there's this director called Sriram Raghavan who made movies like Andhadhun. He
Mm.
made Merry Christmas. I think he made Agent Vinod. He made Johnny Gaddar, and he made a movie called Ek Hasina Thi. So Johnny Gaddar, his second movie, is an underrated is an understatement. Like it is so unknown. Like Johnny Gadar is one of the best Bollywood movies, and I don't understand. Like even after having so many Hindi speaking audiences, unlike Malayalam movies have like very less audience to watch. Bollywood has such a big audience, and still people haven't heard about Johnny Gadar, which is like an actual gem. It's like those Quentin Tarantino movies in Bollywood. Like if you haven't watched it again, you should check it out again. I've not found it on OTT. You can definitely watch it on YouTube. I think Johnny Gadar is the best rated Bollywood movie for me. The worst rated movie is highly debatable because so many bad so many bad Bollywood movies.
Yeah.
But still, I would say the worst Bollywood movie has to be one of the superstar movies. Uh,
Hero Panty 3.
so I have this problem. I usually don't go for even like below average movies. Like for me to start watching a movie, it has to be at least average or above average. So never watched Tiger Shroff movies to be honest. The I think Fan was a bad movie. Shah Rukh Khan's.
Shahrukh.
I mean, I know there are far worse bad movies than this, but my
Yeah.
threshold of bad starts at average. So anything that I have watched in the theater, which is
Okay. And Kannad.
in Kannada, I honestly have only watched good movies. So I'll just suggest a few good movies because I have not watched any bad movies in Kannada. There's this movie called Lucia, which is fantabulous movie. It's like Kannada movies usually don't come up with a lot of good movies, but when they come with good movies, they just hit it out of the park. Lucia is one such movie you should watch. There is another movie by Rachit Shetty called Ulidavare Kandande. I think I'm pronouncing it right. My Kannada pronunciation of this word is also not correct. It's called Ulidavare Kandande. You should watch that movie. Then Kantara, everybody knows. It's definitely a
Yes.
great movie. These are the three movies I think I can think of which are really good. I don't know bad movies. I honestly haven't watched bad Kannada movies, so I don't know.
So now it is your turn to ask me 3 questions.
Yeah, so I just was very curious, and I thought I'll ask this in front of the camera because that way even the audience will get to know about this, right? So, how did you guys like? First of all, I just wanted to know your journey, right? You said you came from US and then you started getting interested in Indian movies because of your husband, and all like. Can you tell me about your journey, basically? How did that happen? Like meeting your husband, getting introduced to Indian movies, and how did how did this channel and like how did this format of video podcasting happen for you?
Okay, so for us, it was COVID time.
Hmm.
We started talking online, and we started talking because of movies. So
Okay.
before anything, we were just friends. We were very good
Okay.
friends, and then he introduced me. I love horror. I'm a huge horror fan. So I started talking to him because there's very few people that actually are horror fans and that are able to digest every single type of horror. So we were
Hmm.
talking, and then he started talking to me about Indian cinema. Because what happens is that in my side, Indian cinema, at least that time, it wasn't like people didn't acknowledge it so much. Many people made fun of Bollywood. So, and
Hmm.
movies didn't come that much. It was like super hard to get a movie. Then he
Hmm.
talked to me about Bahubali. It was my first movie
Hmm.
that I
Hmm.
watched.
Hmm.
That day, I remember that it was like I started watching at night. I stayed till 5 a.m. watching both parts because I
Oh
was not
wow.
able to stop. Like, what we would do, we would be like on video call or something or on the phone, and then we'll be watching the movie together. And then he would explain to me a bit because obviously, as someone from outside, there are many things that you will not understand from Indian movies
Hmm.
till
Hmm.
like you
Hmm.
come and live here.
Hmm.
Then it was like to 1 year. We were like that. He introduced me to more movies. He introduced me to this Mora. He introduced me to Kaki. Several other movies. There are so many movies that
Hmm.
he showed me that I can generally not recall the name. He showed me this
Hmm.
KGF 1, like a lot of movies. Then I understood that
Hmm.
yes, Indian movies are good. The main thing is that people don't know. Later with
Hmm.
time, I decided to move here to India. I came here
Hmm.
and generally I fell in love with India. I fell in love with the
Okay.
people, the food, the culture, and everything. And I
Hmm.
decided, like, okay, I'll just shift here. Usually people think that, okay, if you're going to get married to a foreigner, you'll go outside. But from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
beginning, our plan was to stay here in India. because
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
don't know. It is in the end.
That's
It is about
different.
taste.
Yeah.
Yes, it is about the taste. And in my case,
Hmm.
I really love living in India. I love talking with the people. I love the diversity. Like there's so
Hmm.
many good things. Yes, you can say that there are bad things. Like you
Hmm.
mentioned, me
Hmm.
this the roads and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for my taste, I find India like an amazing country. It has been
Hmm.
super welcoming to me. They
Hmm.
people are so nice. They treat me like family. They're happy to
Hmm.
teach me stuff. Like even when I didn't understood Hindi, even if they were not able to speak English, somehow they would try to speak to me in English or to make me understand. So that is very rare and it doesn't happen in every single country. So for
Yeah.
me, I
Yeah.
would rather live in a place like people treat me so good and that people welcome me that in another place.
Wow.
So in
That's
short,
great to know about my country. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And it happens everywhere. Like even I've been mostly I love going to Hyderabad. It
Hmm. Hmm.
is nearby for us. It is not that far away. And
Hmm.
people still like they speak English. They're so good. Every single place I have been to Gao. I have been
Hmm.
to big cities. I have been here, there. Everyone
Hmm.
is very good. People,
Okay.
the nature that they have, it is something that you cannot replicate in other places of the world. And the same thing that
Hmm.
everyone says, like the food,
Yeah.
100%. We love the food in the beginning. Yes, I struggle with the spiciness, the mirchi, because
Hmm.
in everything you
Hmm.
add mirchi. But
Yeah.
but then I got used to it, drinking water and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is like unique place. And
Hmm.
movies for me is that there's nothing like Indian movies that you can
Hmm.
say with words. The same
Yeah.
thing that I said in the beginning, that it is an emotion. The emotion
Hmm.
behind Indian movies that will make you get connected with them. And I think that's
Hmm.
why so many foreigners nowadays they started to watch Indian movies, because it is
Hmm.
something we lack in our side. And we were discussing with my husband a few days ago that if you think, for example, the creativity that you have for making movies, the stories that you portray, you will not see anywhere else. Like even if you
Yeah.
think these movies that they show the same actor doing double role,
Hmm.
it doesn't happen in US. You will not see it.
Hmm.
Here you have
Hmm.
actors playing three, four roles in the same movie and
Yeah.
showing some different characters. It doesn't happen. It only happens in here how talented they are. Like we
Yeah.
have Thalabuddy VJ that he's able to memorize the choreography only by watching it. He doesn't do double takes. Here you have so
Hmm.
many actors that have this range. The same thing goes with this Mohanlal.
Hmm.
I have watched a bit of his, like from the beginning, and the same that you said. You will never imagine that a guy like
Hmm.
him can
Hmm.
dance
Hmm.
so well. He can jump. He can do this. He can do that.
Yeah.
It is breathtaking, and I think even on this
Hmm.
I could give you a podcast. But
Yeah.
overall, like
No,
so many
it's
things that add up.
no, I mean it's so different. Like I thought I had a outsider perspective on India coming from Dubai, but still I am an Indian with who has Indian parents. Now listening to your perspective on Indian movies and India and how people treat you versus how the actors are talented, that is completely different perspective for me as an outsider who's in India. You're an outsider who's completely new to India. So I think even for an outsider versus outsider also, I think there are different like like diverse perspectives uh, that shape like a lot of experience that shape our perception. So that's something I really was very curious when you were talking about. I think one question that I have as a follow-up is like, what are your like as a couple, like you guys are doing this as a like as your passion for movies and things like that. Like, what is your vision for it? Like, where do you guys see yourself, like, say, in the next 5 years? Or what is your vision for your channel? What is your, like, is there any sort of, like, and first of all, like, hats off to both of you for going and watching movies. You guys have already watched Hit and Retro even before the weekend is, like, today's Saturday, and you guys have already watched Hit and Retro, which was released on Thursday. And already I put a review of both the movies. So, hats off to you guys. So, what do you guys do right now? What do you guys how do you guys manage all this and what is your future vision? Like it's a
Okay.
very loaded question, but like whatever you can like uh, tell me about what I
Yeah.
asked.
For managing, generally it is sacrifice and love for what we do. Because
Hmm.
currently our YouTube channel, it is very small. Our
Hmm.
Instagram is also very small. We're still growing.
Hmm.
But what do we usually do, for example, on a day like Thursday that we had so many movies, we watched 5 movies in one day. So we woke up by 6 a.m. We went
Hmm.
there, we watched the movies. We were in the movie theater till like 8 p.m. Then
Hmm.
after that, we come home and then we work till 2, 3 a.m. until we're done with our work. So we live this like
When you say
double.
work, are you guys working parallelly on some other
Yes,
project, or are you guys working on the
yes.
videos?
We have our own jobs. It is
Okay,
not, we
okay.
don't get from YouTube or anything.
Oh,
We
okay,
have
okay, got it.
our own jobs, and what we do is that we have to sacrifice our sleep to watch
Hmm. Hmm.
all the movies. So what we do is that, okay, if I don't know, any day you have X amount of movies, so we will check
Hmm.
and how we can watch movies like 5 minutes different. Like this movie is ending, then we have 5 minutes gap to go do the reel and then edit quickly on the phone and then go back watch the other movie, and like that. And then we come at home, and then as soon as we come home, we do the recording, then we edit and we upload, and then the time that we have at night, we do our work till we're done, like sometimes 3, 4, 5 a.m. So it
Hmm.
depends
Okay.
on how many
Yeah.
movies we have to watch.
Yeah.
And as for this, what is our vision? The main reason we started the channel is one, my husband, like, although we're husband and wife, many times our opinions are different. And many
Hmm.
times, even between the two of us, we have these debates on, like, what do you
Hmm.
think of this movie? What do you think? Because sometimes a movie can be good for me and it is not good for him. Like, there's
Hmm.
different perspectives in the end. So
Yeah.
we want
Yeah.
to make a channel that it was not biased. And what I mean by non-biased is that we don't go and watch other reviews.
Hmm.
We
Hmm. Hmm.
first do our review, what do we
Hmm.
think,
And
what do
then,
we
yeah.
think, and then we can
Yeah.
watch the others.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't pollute our mind with what other people are
Correct.
saying. We just say our opinion. Even if
What
we
you
watch,
feel. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So even if you watch, for example, the review that we did for Salar, that
Hmm.
time everyone was saying that Salar was not good. Me and my husband,
Hmm.
we loved it.
Hmm.
Later with
Hmm.
time, people started telling us, yes, you were right, Salar was good.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what we
Hmm.
want is that the public has someone that is reliable, that can give the
Yeah. Yeah.
perspective, and two different perspectives to
Hmm.
understand that
Hmm.
in the end,
Yeah.
cinema is not something that is just straightforward. There's a
Hmm.
gray area that we can
Hmm.
agree, we can disagree, but in the end, what should make us go together is sharing the love for cinema, and that is what we want. Like, we want a community that is understanding, that
Hmm.
watches every single type of movies. We also watch
Hmm.
Marathi movies, we also watch Punjabi movies, like whatever comes
Hmm.
to the movie theater, we watch. It
Hmm.
is anime, it is Korean, it is
Hmm.
horror, romance, whatever it is, we will watch, and we
Hmm.
will tell you how it is. It is now, it is in 5 years, it is in 10 years. Our mission is the same: sharing the love
Hmm.
for cinema, and if we think a movie is good, to
Yeah.
spread it. Because there are so many good, even Marathi movies that we have watched recently, and this is a topic that I missed, but I think you saw Chava. This,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So there is the Marathi movie
Hmm.
of Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj. I
Hmm.
cannot say the full form because it is very hard for me to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But that movie, they made it like few months before Chava was released, and
Okay.
very few people that are not Marathi, they know about this movie, and it is
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
well made. And the same thing, Marathi cinema has very low budget, and very few people watch it. Like, there's also this movie called First Class Davare. It was
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
hilarious and it is relatable. And me and my
Hmm.
husband, we compare a lot Marathi movies to Malayali because they're also
Hmm.
on low budgets. People,
Hmm. Hmm.
it till now, they're super underrated. And
Hmm.
they also talk about day to day. Like, this First Class Davare is about a family. The story is
Hmm.
about a family, how they have issues and how they solve them. That is the story. It is in a
Hmm.
home. But the way
Hmm.
they made the comedy, the way they did everything, that is the main thing in this movie. So
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
we just want to spread the word For whatever we watch
Got
that
it.
we think it is good, please go ahead and watch it and support the industry.
Yeah, I mean, that's very rare. I don't intend to kind of say it just for the sake of saying it, but it's very rare. Like I told you, right? I appreciate people who put in the effort, and the amount of effort you guys are putting. Like, if my expectations here, your the effort you guys are putting is like off, like out of the roof. So, uh, the time you guys are taking to watch movies, you guys have jobs, you guys are still like putting out reviews, because I'm doing like I started by doing one review every weekend, which was, and there's this perfectionism this bug which I had in the beginning. Like, I would sit and edit my videos for like hours and hours, and then to get the take right. I used to shoot for 6 hours, 7 hours, just to make a 3-minute reel and all that. And then I figured, okay, it's not a very feasible sort of model, and that's why I was very curious to know how you guys are doing it. Last but not the least, one question I'll leave it with you, or want to understand from you guys, is what do you see is the future of Indian cinema, like regional cinema, Bollywood? Like, where do you see what are the changes you guys want to see in Indian cinema, if anything? Like, is there anything you want to see from the Indian movies, particularly in regional cinema, or like completely pan-Indian level? Do you
I
want
want
anything?
I want to see more inclusion. I want to see
Hmm.
that most of the industries, at least almost every industry generally, should be
Hmm.
treated the same, that they
Yeah.
should get the same respect, that they should get the same respect also in OTTs, because they will get on
Hmm.
OTTs but they don't have subtitles, or like they will not get the subtitles in different languages. So
Yeah.
it is my hope for the future that even I can be able to share the movies from Indian cinema with my people, because I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
people that they speak Spanish, I have people that they speak English, but then I don't
Hmm.
have the movies with the subtitles, or they're not
Hmm.
available on that side. So it is
Yeah.
my hope that they become more international, that people are
Hmm.
able to understand that it is not like for making fun, and that
Hmm.
Indian cinema is not only Bollywood, or that it is
Yeah.
not only
Yeah.
Shah Rukh or Salman, that there's more people, there's a lot of talent. There's people that
Yeah.
are directors, that they're singers, that they're composers, that they're every single thing that you can imagine. And
Yeah.
yeah, simply that you should get the respect not only in Asia or Dubai, but it should
Yeah.
actually reach most of the parts of the world, and not only like the
Yeah.
huge budget movies, but oh, that they should get the
Yeah. All
subtitles.
movies. That's the same vision I think I also share in some shape or form. Like, so, yeah, I think that's about the questions I had for you also. So, all the very best with your future endeavors and your mission and vision with your husband. I hope your channel grows to a more uh, bigger, like more impactful, and like, again, I just want to like take the chance to kind of appreciate. I mean, I personally find it like really great work, the amount of time you guys spend, the effort you guys spend to spread awareness about even regional cinema like Malayalam, Marathi, etc. is hugely uh, I wish I could do more, and you guys definitely are sort of role models for me also, because I think I've started much later than both of you. So I think I'm also learning. There's a lot of tweaks I need to make in my operating model and my approach as well. So I think this was a really good learning for me, as well as understanding my thought process as well when I'm talking to you. Really happy that we had this conversation.
Yes, me too. And that is why also we invited you, because usually what happens, YouTubers also
Yeah,
divide themselves. It is like Bollywood YouTubers, then we have Malayali YouTubers, and then we have Tamil YouTubers. Everyone
yeah,
should be together, share experiences, share the
yeah,
movie, share about what you love. In the end, we are together because we all love cinema,
yeah,
and we should share that. Like we should
yeah,
be
yeah,
open with each other, like, okay, this movie is good, you should go ahead and watch it. For me, this
yeah,
movie is good, go ahead and watch it. Only like that
yeah,
everyone will be able to grow and generally spread the word of what we
yeah,
have in
yeah,
India. So
yeah.
yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure
Yeah.
to have you in the channel. Thank you so much for watching us. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Please follow him, check his channel, check his Instagram. He has really great content. Please watch him. With that said, thank you so much for watching us. Bye.